It's a revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 100.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, all eyes on Tropical Storm Melissa as the system threatens to become a major hurricane by Sunday.
JPS warning customers to brace for increases in their bills following the storm.
In full transparency, I would say based on the change in the fuel mix that we have during storms, so that could potentially have upward pressures on the bill.
Face-to-face classes will remain suspended tomorrow.
CMEX says it has donated money to both major political parties as PNP queries payment to JLP.
Everett Warmington wants 18-year-olds to be eligible for the parliament.
In news from the rest of the world, gang warfare stalls long-awaited elections in Haiti.
Donald Trump backs off planned surge of federal agents in San Francisco.
In headline sports, former national player criticizes state of regional cricket following West Indies defeat.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says the JUTC is ready to support evacuation efforts where needed, while Petrojam has sufficient fuel supplies available as preparations continue for Tropical Storm Melissa. The minister will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, how confident are you in JPS's ability to restore power quickly following Tropical Storm Melissa? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the Health Ministry warns families to pick up relatives admitted for non-critical conditions at hospitals across the country. Head of the ministry's emergency unit, Dr. Nicole Dawkins-Wright, will join us.
At 7, U.S. President Donald Trump says the existing structure of the White House East Wing must be torn down in order to construct a new $250 million ballroom. You'll hear more.
Also in the third hour, the daring heist of the Louvre in France took just 7 minutes, leaving investigators searching for answers as to how one of the world's most secure museums was robbed in such a brief window of time. We'll bring you the latest.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, RevoNews.ai, and on the Revo News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, October 23, 2025.
The hour is brought to you by the KFC Value Menu. Grab a chicken box, famous bowl, crunch sandwich, or small popcorn chicken with combos starting at just $620. KFC, it's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Jamaica should begin experiencing heavy rains and thunderstorms later this evening as Tropical Storm Melissa continues its trek across the central Caribbean. That's according to the latest update from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. A tropical storm warning and hurricane watch remains in effect for the island. This means tropical storm conditions pose a threat to the island within 36 hours, while hurricane conditions are possible within 48 hours. Tropical Storm Melissa continues to move slowly towards the north-northwest at 2 miles per hour. The system has maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour with higher gusts. The Met Service says Melissa could become a major hurricane by Sunday. On its present forecast track, the tropical storm is expected to continue moving toward Jamaica before turning westward on Saturday and passing over the waters south of the island. Strong gusty winds, possibly reaching tropical storm strength, are expected to gradually develop on Friday and continue into the weekend.
The Jamaica Public Service Company JPS is warning Jamaicans to brace for a possible increase in electricity bills following the passage of Tropical Storm Melissa. But the company's CEO, Hugh Grant, says they're working with the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, to lessen the blow. Mahiri Stewart has that story.
The JPS boss says customers should brace for additional pressures on their bills following the storm.
In full transparency, I will say some of the potential pressures that a bill has is based on the change in the fuel mix that we have during storms. The unit that supplies our liquefied natural gas, due to threats and the adverse weather conditions, they're going to go ahead and demobilize. Units that are able to burn the alternate diesel oil, those units will burn alternate diesel oil. The reality is that's a more pricey commodity than liquefied natural gas, so that could potentially have upward pressures on the bill.
He added that the lack of renewable energy for use in a storm may also play a role in a potential increase in bills. But he says JPS is in dialogue with the OUR to limit the increases as much as possible.
Renewable energy, wind and solar are significantly curtailed. Curtailment in the order of over 80%. Therefore, in terms of the availability of that, you're talking about less than 20%. So in Jamaica, we have just over 50 megawatts of solar. The expected output during a hurricane, given the cloud cover, is pretty much zero. So you now are going to have to be running other units that's burning fossil fuel to offset that to meet the customer demand. Those combined effects leads to potential upward trends in regards to bills and the impact. But we'll work with regulators and other agencies to see what we can do to soften or minimize that.
Mr. Grant is seeking to assure Jamaicans that the recent mass installation of smart meters island-wide will ensure accurate charges are applied after the storm.
Earlier this year, JPS completed 100% rollout of our smart meters. Smart meters are digital meters with a high level of accuracy. So one of the things that's a change right now is, as a result of that smart meter rollout, we will now be able to very clearly and accurately have insights in terms of the consumptions. Prior to having smart meter rollout, we'd have to actually go ahead and have meter readers physically go out there. By having smart meters and that communication being reported back to us, we will now have more accuracy and visibility actually into what's happening with the bills.
Mr. Grant was speaking at a media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister on Thursday. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the JPS CEO is urging Jamaicans to prepare for power outages.
Let us be frank. We have faced multiple weeks of significant rainfall. What does that mean for us? The ground is saturated. Saturated ground combined with increased rainfall in the order of what I'm hearing 6 to 12 inches, plus wind sustained in the order of 50 miles per hour, increases the likelihood of power outages. So I'm standing here to let you know the lights are going to go out. So let us plan for the lights going out.
That's Hugh Grant, the CEO of JPS. He was speaking at a media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister today.
The Ministry of Education has announced that all schools will continue remote learning on Friday, October 24, 2025, as Tropical Storm Melissa moves closer to Jamaica. The ministry said the decision was made out of an abundance of caution to ensure the safety of students, teachers, and school staff amid the adverse weather conditions associated with the storm. The ministry says it's maintaining close communication with the Met Service and the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. Further guidance regarding the resumption of face-to-face classes is expected to be issued over the weekend. Members of the public are being urged to stay tuned to official government channels for updates and advisories as the country braces for possible impacts from Tropical Storm Melissa.
State Minister for Local Government Delroy Williams says preparations are well advanced at drop-in centers to accommodate the homeless during the passage of Tropical Storm Melissa. He made the statement today during a tour of a homeless facility in Kingston.
Preparations are ahead. The homeless persons who are here will be accommodated easily, but any overflow of homeless persons who normally are not here and reside here, we are ensuring that we are ahead in terms of accommodating for them. They have already organized to, if necessary, transport persons from the streets to here in the event that that is necessary. Normally they would come on their own, but sometimes we have some persons who prefer to remain outside, and we don't want that to happen. So we are quite comfortable that across the island arrangements are being put in place by the municipal corporations to ensure that we take care of the homeless population and other vulnerable groups.
A full list of shelters is available on the local government ministry's website. Meanwhile, the Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, is urging vulnerable individuals to make use of the shelters and not wait until it's too late.
We have been going on the road, sensitizing them already to say when the rain starts to fall, these are the locations. The buses will be out, we'll be working with our relief officers along with our mental health department, the mental health department of the Ministry of Health, to get these persons inside. It shouldn't be much of a difficult to get them inside once they know persons that they recognize. There's a feeding program that takes place, and our poor relief officers are the ones that mainly go out there and feed them, so they're accustomed to them. So we just want to make sure that we get them off the street and have them somewhere they can get a bath, get some food, and even if medical help, we can get medical help to them.
That's Andrew Swaby, the Mayor of Kingston.
The Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, is encouraging incoming travelers to stay tuned on weather and flight updates as Tropical Storm Melissa approaches the island. Audley Diedrich is the president of the AAJ.
Pay very close and keen attention to the weather bulletins as to when flights will operate or cease to operate and when the airports will remain open or closed. That's the best information I can give at this point in time. I would not want to issue a blanket statement to say don't come to Jamaica. I think that's dangerous. But to keep very close marking of the weather bulletins and the airlines and their announcements and the airports and their announcements.
Audley Diedrich, president of the AAJ. In a post on its Instagram page on Thursday, Sangster International Airport says it remains open and will continue normal operations. But travelers are being advised to contact their airline for the latest flight updates or to make changes to reservations before heading to the airport. The Norman Manley International Airport is also operating as usual. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says the airports will rely on updates from the Met Office to guide operations.
The question that is being asked out there, is there a possibility of the airports being closed? So I made sure to clarify that with the Airports Authority. The minute that a hurricane warning, not a watch, a warning has been issued, it is likely that the airports will close within 24 hours. It is not a must that both of them will be closed at the same time. It's all dependent on the tracking of the storm or the hurricane and the elements in terms of the locations of the two airports, which are obviously on the sea. So for right now, airports remain open.
Darrell Vaz, Transport Minister.
Still on the weather, the Labour and Social Security Ministry has activated its parish offices across the island as it ramps up preparations for Tropical Storm Melissa. The Portfolio Minister, Pernell Charles Jr., says response teams are on standby in all 14 parishes.
The ministry has mobilized all of our parish offices, which are fully equipped to respond as needed. The Humanitarian Assistance Committee, which we lead, has been convened to finalize coordination among key partners, as well as training sessions on the Jamaica Household Disaster Impact Needs Assessment, JHDINA, which is the assessment tool that is required and utilized by us on the ground to gather information from victims.
The minister says care packages have also been dispatched across the island.
Care supplies have already been distributed in St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary, and the ministry's communication systems are fully operational. Each of our parish managers, administrators, and social workers have been assigned a mobile phone within a closed user group network to ensure that we have seamless coordination during emergencies, or as best as possible. We want to reassure the public that all mechanisms are in place to respond effectively and to provide timely assistance to affected individuals and families. This is our goal.
Pernell Charles Jr., the Minister of Labour and Social Security. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
See twice the style for less at IQ Optical. Buy one pair of glasses and get your second and third pair half price. Don't miss out. Call 876-929-7732 or visit IQ Optical today, where clarity never looked sharper.
The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
It's the Answers Big 50% off store-wide sale. Get 50% off from Answers Gifts and Home Center and Answers for Children. Get 50% off in every store from now till Saturday, November 1st. Answers Big 50% off store-wide sale.
Continuing the news, Caribbean Cement Company says it has made voluntary contributions to both the People's National Party PNP and the Jamaica Labour Party JLP. The company's statement comes in light of the disclosure of a $200,000 payment by its parent company CEMEX to the JLP. Khaleesi Wright has the details.
The payment was disclosed in a filing to the United States Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). In that filing, the payment was described as fees. But in a statement on Wednesday, the company clarified that it was not accurate to describe the payments to the JLP as fees. CEMEX has since amended the filing. Caribbean Cement says its contributions to both major political parties were made in accordance with applicable local laws, regulations, and best practices. Caribbean Cement says, with respect to the filing, it should be understood that the amendment, as explained in the amended report, was made solely to correct information included in the original report to the SEC. Caribbean Cement noted that both the original and amended reports are publicly available. In a statement on Thursday, the PNP admitted it received donations from Caribbean Cement while requesting clarity from the JLP regarding the amended CEMEX filing. The party says CEMEX and its subsidiary, Caribbean Cement Company, have been good corporate citizens and have contributed meaningfully to Jamaica's development, demonstrating strong corporate social responsibility over the years. The party notes, like many other companies, they have made political donations to both major parties, and the PNP has no issue with legitimate political contributions made in accordance with the law. Khaleesi Wright for Nationwide News.
But the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell, says the labeling of the payment raises suspicions.
This payment was described in filings to the United States Securities and Exchange Commission as fees, and that raises serious questions. Let me be clear, CEMEX and its subsidiary have been good corporate citizens, contributing meaningfully to Jamaica's development. The PNP has no issue with legitimate political donations made in accordance with the law. However, a payment described as fees to the party in government implies compensation for services rendered.
The PNP says the charging of fees by the party in government is outside the legislative framework of campaign financing. Dr. Campbell is demanding a transparent explanation from the JLP as to the basis of the payment.
What services were provided by the Jamaica Labour Party? What was this payment in exchange for? The government must come clean with the Jamaican people and the investor community. Silence only deepens the perception that corruption has become the cost of doing business in Jamaica. The People's National Party stands firm in its call for transparency, accountability, and good governance. Jamaica deserves nothing less.
That's Dr. Dayton Campbell, the General Secretary of the PNP.
Member of Parliament for South West St. Catherine Everald Warmington wants the Constitution to be amended to allow 18-year-olds to serve in Parliament. He's also calling for the Constitution to be amended to allow Jamaicans with foreign passports to serve in the legislature. Mr. Warmington tabled a private member's motion on Tuesday on the matter in the House of Representatives. He says the Supreme Court has interpreted the Constitution as suggesting that holding a foreign passport is tantamount to swearing allegiance to a foreign power. According to the MP, the realities have changed since the passing of the Constitution in 1962, and the document must be adjusted to reflect that.
Section 40, subsection 2, subsection 8 states, no person shall be qualified to be appointed as senator or elected as member of parliament, a member of the House of Representatives, who is, by virtue of his own act, under any acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to a foreign power or state. And whereas the Supreme Court of Jamaica interprets this to mean even the renewal of a passport by an individual born in a foreign country to be by Jamaican parents, and whereas circumstances have changed since the adoption of this Constitution 1962, be it resolved that Section 39, subsection A of the Constitution be amended to read, is a Commonwealth citizen of the age of 18 years or upwards. Be it further resolved that Section 40, subsection 2, subsection A of the Constitution be deleted.
Everald Warmington, Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Catherine.
Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, has urged the new directors of the Integrity Commission not to be swayed by attempts to bully them as they execute their functions. The organization's executive director, Mikel Jackson, was reacting to the appointment of Craig Beresford as executive director, Renif Lawrence as Director of Corruption Prosecution, and Joeth Hall as Director of Information and Complaints. Ms. Jackson says the trio must operate with the highest levels of integrity.
It is important that while we recognize that no officer is beyond and above scrutiny, the officers cannot be swayed by public discourse because they must execute their work with the highest levels of integrity without fear or favor. And it's important that they are not bullied into making decisions that are not in keeping with integrity and upholding the rule of law.
The three directors were appointed by the Governor General after a delay reportedly caused by the Commission's failure to follow what's described as administrative precedent. The posts have been without permanent appointments since at least July. Ms. Jackson says she expects the new appointees to perform well.
We have seen the work of some of these officers before, for example, Mr. Craig Beresford, and we look forward to him excelling in his new role as executive director. As you may have taken note, the organization had raised concerns before regarding that untenable prolonged delay in having these permanent appointments made. So we are certainly heartened by the permanent appointments so that the work of the Integrity Commission can get underway.
Mikel Jackson there, the executive director of Jamaicans for Justice. She was speaking with Nationwide News on Wednesday.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. The head of Haiti's Electoral Council says general elections will not be held in the country before February 2026. That's when the mandate of the current interim government comes to an end. The Electoral Council president says the expansion of armed gangs across the country makes any hope for a full and stable vote impossible. Haiti has not held elections since 2016. The country's last president, who repeatedly delayed elections, was assassinated in 2021. Armed gangs have since taken control of much of the capital and surrounding areas. At the start of the year, the interim government had said it planned for elections to take place around November 15 of this year.
U.S. President Donald Trump is backing off a planned surge of federal troops into San Francisco to quell crime. He made the decision on Thursday after speaking to the mayor and several prominent business leaders who say they're working hard to clean up the city. Trump had been threatening to send the National Guard to San Francisco, a move which the mayor and Governor Gavin Newsom said was unnecessary because crime is on the decline. Separately, U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents began arriving at a Coast Guard base in the region earlier Thursday for a possible ramp-up of immigration enforcement. The move has drawn several hundred protesters.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour. All eyes are on Tropical Storm Melissa as the system threatens to become a major hurricane by Sunday.
JPS warning customers to brace for increases in their bills following the storm.
In full transparency, I will say based on the change in the fuel mix that we have during storms, so that could potentially have upward pressures on the bill.
Face-to-face classes will remain suspended tomorrow.
CMEX says it has donated money to both major political parties as PNP queries payment to JLP.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robeanne Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at rivanews.ai and on the Riva News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next. The headlines at 6.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy delicious, crunchy, new collaboration run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it, KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark..."
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. We start with the news on cricket. Former Jamaican batsman Mark Nita has given a brutal assessment on the state of cricket in Jamaica and the wider region. Nita's critique of the system pointed to a catastrophic collapse at the grassroots level, a coaching crisis, and the damning influence of the T20 cricket on young players. Nita says regional cricket is in a really bad state, but he says that this game in Jamaica is even more so.
When you look at our cricket, I'm telling you, it is worse than we really realize. And if it is this bad in Jamaica, I don't know what it is regionally, but if it is as bad regionally, then I'm telling you, man, it's going to take a generation or two for cricket to come back.
Nita highlighted a shocking decline in participation, revealing the number of schools playing cricket has plummeted from over 90 to just 30 in most parishes. He says some areas have no high schools in local competitions, highlighting that the collapse of the traditional feeding ground has left club teetering on disaster. He also identified a dual problem with the players who do emerge, saying they have a fixation on power hitting over technique and a critical shortage of qualified coaches. In fact, he says the Jamaica Cricket Board has not invested in equipping proper coaches.
One of the biggest problems we have in the clubs, whenever we get the talent, is that we don't have coaches. The Cricket Board in Jamaica has not invested in equipping proper coaches. The good quality players, everybody turn rich and nobody comes back to the clubs. You know, I heard mention of somebody earlier said that people like Archer and stuff is in the dressing room in Barbados. Well, there's no such person in Jamaica. Once these guys start to make money, they turn their back on the clubs.
Nita says it's his view that the insularity in West Indies cricket has gone to the very top, where appointments are made to individuals based on where the president is from. Hence, he says we have Darren Sammy in charge of all cricket, and he thinks it's not a good thing.
Is King Sammy? I mean, it's might as well they call him King Trump. I mean, he wears the same kind of crown, you know, and this to me is killing our cricket because the cricket is bigger than one person. And I think you can't have people paying platitudes, say, oh, Brian Lara, this, but they're not really involved in the game. We need to have a real conversation about our cricket in the region.
That's former Jamaica player Mark Nita. Bangladesh registered their biggest one-day international victory over the West Indies. They clobbered the two-time world champions by 179 runs in capital city Dhaka today to take their three-match series by 2-1. The host elected to bat, and they got off to a flying start, with Sabkoesh Sakar, 91, and Saif Hassan, 80, putting on 176 for the opening wicket. They helped steer the Tigers to 296 for 8 in their 50 overs. Najmul Hussain Shanto weighed in with 44 as Akil Hussain bagged a 4 for 41 and Alec Athanaze 2 for 37. The West Indies simply could not cope with the Bangladeshi spinners and were dismissed for 117 inside 31 overs.
And gone. Mehdi Hasan Miraj hits the timber as Bangladesh go on to seal an emphatic win over West Indies and a series win as well. They go on to win by 179 runs and their dominance against the West Indies continues. It's their 4th ODI series victory at home against West Indies and 5th out of 6 ODI series overall.
And when we come back for a major sportscast at 6:05 this evening, you'll be hearing from the West Indies white ball captain, Shea Hope. We close the sports though this afternoon with some athletics news because 3 Americans have been nominated for the Women's Field Athlete of the Year as part of the World Athletics Awards Gala 2025. World and Diamond League Discus Champion Valerie Allman leads the field of 5 nominees, having gone undefeated in 2025 with 9 of the top 11 performances over the season. The World Long Jump champion Tara Davis Woodhall was also undefeated this season. She's also in there and she's got the top 3 performances this year. World Heptathlon champion Anna Hall is the other American in the runnings after moving to join second on the world all-time list, and she set 3 top performances in 2025. The list is completed by Nicola Ogislager of Australia, the world high jump champ and indoors and out. She also won the Diamond League with an area record, and Cameron Rogers of Canada, the champion, the world hammer throw champion, who moved to second on the all-time list with another area record as well. The men's list is led by the outstanding Swedish superstar Mundo Duplantis, who broke the world record 4 times last season, on his way to becoming world champion indoors and out as well. Italy's world long jump champion indoors and out Mattia Furlani, he's also in it as well as Ethan Kasberg of Canada, the world hammer champion. New Zealand's Hamish Carr, world high jump champion, world indoor silver medalist, and Portugal's world triple jump superstar Pedro Pichardo, who is also the world leader as well. The vote to determine the Field Athlete of the Year is now open on all platforms for World Athletics. It's on their Facebook, Instagram, and of course on X. Voting closes on October 26th, and the winners will be announced at the World Athletics Award in Monaco, and that takes place on November 30. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 29 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy delicious, crunchy. New collaboration run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it. KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
On Friday, October 24, tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. when LASCO, in partnership with the Jamaica Constabulary Force, proudly announces the Super 6 finalists for the 2025 Saluting Our Heroes Police of the Year Awards. Meet the Super 6, Jamaica's finest. Constable Monique Bartley, Corporal Stephen Smith, Corporal Rojeanne Holt, Detective Corporal Chadwick Williams, Constable Chantel Powell, and Detective Corporal Livy Evans. Finalists for the prestigious 2025 LASCO JCF Saluting Our Heroes Police of the Year Award. Tune in to Cliff Hughes Online as we highlight and celebrate the outstanding service, leadership, and community impact of the Super 6. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online Friday, October 24 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Super 6 finalists for the 2025 Saluting Our Heroes Police of the Year Awards. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by LASCO Chin Foundation and the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multi-link?
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good afternoon, Siobhan.
Good afternoon, Sir Brooks. How are you doing?
I'm
all right myself.
All right. You have a PSA for us.
That's correct. This is coming from the Transport Authority. The Transport Authority is asking customers whose motor vehicles have been seized and stored at its pound locations to collect them immediately up to Friday, October 24, 2025, between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. They say kindly take the relevant documentations and identification. So if your vehicle is currently seized and stored by the Transport Authority. They're asking you to kindly come between now and Friday, that's 8:30 to 4 p.m., to collect them. And please bring the relevant documentations and identification that is coming from the Transport Authority.
So get your vehicles by tomorrow. Let's also tell you the latest from the Met Service. Its latest bulletin issued at 5 o'clock. It says that the tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch remains in effect as Tropical Storm Melissa moves slowly across the Caribbean Sea, southwest of Jamaica. And this means tropical storm conditions are a possible threat to Jamaica within 36 hours, and hurricane conditions are likely to pose a threat within 48 hours.
It says at 4 p.m. the center of Tropical Storm Melissa was located near latitude 15.6 degrees north, longitude 75.5 degrees west. That's about 270 kilometers or 170 miles southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica, or about 300 kilometers or 185 miles southeast of the capital, Kingston. The bulletin says Tropical Storm Melissa is moving very slowly toward the northwest, near 4 kilometers per hour or 2 miles per hour. Slow forward speed and northward motion is forecast during the next couple of days, followed by a sharp westward turn over the weekend.
Its maximum sustained winds are at about 45 miles per hour with higher gusts, and gradual strengthening is forecast during the next day or so, followed by rapid intensification this weekend. Melissa is forecast to become a hurricane by Saturday and a major hurricane by Sunday. So, if you haven't yet started to make your preparations, you want to start doing that, but you don't want to overdo it, because I realize people are buying bread as if it's the apocalypse. I don't know if there's any bread left in the capital city. It's just everywhere.
That's
everywhere
human nature.
Everywhere you go, the shelves are empty.
It's human nature. Some people under-prepare, some people over-prepare.
Yeah. A next important thing to consider in a tropical storm or hurricane is energy, the matter of energy. Well, the Minister of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications, Darrell Vaz, he's saying that the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam does have sufficient fuel supplies available as the preparations continue for this storm. On transport, he's saying that the JUTC and the Montego Bay Metro will be continuing operations as long as the conditions allow.
The Minister Vaz says 30 buses have been designated for emergency deployment across depots in Portmore, Spanish Town, Rockford, and Montego Bay. He says the JUTC is also ready to support evacuation efforts where needed. Well, in the meantime, telecommunications providers such as Flow and Digicel say their teams and systems are prepared for the potential impact of Tropical Storm Melissa.
The public relations manager at Digicel, Brittany Clark, says the company has activated its severe weather contingency plans, including fueling generators and mobilizing field engineers. And at Flow, senior communications manager Daniel Savory says the company has activated its emergency operations center and its local crisis management team. The Minister of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications, Darrell Vaz, joins us now. Good afternoon, Minister.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
How are you?
I've spoken to you since September 3rd.
Yes. Congratulations on your election.
Thank you.
Re-election, that is.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And your reappointment to the portfolio. So let's start with energy. You're saying that Petrojam has sufficient fuel supplies. What does that mean for the public?
So basically what it means is that there will be no issue in relation to fuel supplies, including LPG. And the loading facilities, both in Kingston and Montego Bay, will extend the hours for pre-storm deliveries. And of course, that will go for fuel for aircrafts as well. So unless we get a devastating hit and we are prolonged in our recovery in terms of reopening, we should be fine.
So this should satisfy demands at the pumps, Minister, and we shouldn't expect or see any unfortunate increase in the price in some kind of preparation of a potential shortage by the dealers themselves?
No, everything remains as is. I saw where a question was asked this morning at the press briefing as it relates to JPS. Based on what transpired last year after Beryl, in relation to the spike in bills, and the JPS president indicated that there is a possibility, based on the fact they have to use, obviously, some of the fuel sources will not be available, such as the LNG, etc., because the barge will have to be commissioned. But what I want to assure the public is that you will not get a Nicodemus bill as we got last year. If that such arises, that will be discussions with the OUR and myself and the ministry prior to any action taken. So I want to reassure the public. I know that was a big one last year, which ended up in quite a war of words, if you recall, between myself and the JPS.
Yes.
But I also want to say on the JPS that obviously lessons have been learned, and in this time they've already brought in 31 overseas workers, line workers, with more on standby. They have done quite a bit of work in terms of making sure that they have styling systems. They were also indicated today they've done quite a bit of vegetation management and grid reinforcement. And you'll recall that we had a number of issues with the hospitals and with the NWC plants for water. And they have assured us also that they have made provisions in there where they can remotely divert power from one area to another to facilitate some of what they could not facilitate the last time around, which caused the misery index to climb very high. So, as you know, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, but the country can be assured, as I did last year, that I'll be overseeing all of my portfolio responsibilities that have to do with essential services to make sure that our recovery is in the shortest possible time and the most efficient in terms of usage of time and resources.
Yeah, we're up on the break, but obviously last year your biggest headache was the matter of restoration with the JPS, but we're going to take the break and then want to stay on this a little while longer.
Okay.
Protecting your personal data is a priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. We urge you to use the agency's official platforms to conduct your business. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:47.
One box, full belly. The Bird Shack Fried Chicken Flex Box has it all. Sandwich, wings, or chicken, wedges or fries, coleslaw plus a drink. Only $1,800. Best value in the streets. Flex Smart.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken is...
It's 30 degrees here in the capital city, Kingston, and it's equally toasty out west in Montego Bay.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy, delicious, crunchy. New collaboration, run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it. KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
We have a public service announcement from Jets Limited. Jets Limited, the operator of the multi-link debit network, advises that some customers may currently be experiencing intermittent difficulty completing transactions between financial institutions at ABMs or point-of-sale machines. It says our team is working quickly to restore normal service and is monitoring the situation closely. It says, in the meantime, customers may continue to use their own bank's ABMs or POS terminals, which remain fully operational. International. Jets Limited says it regrets any inconvenience caused and will provide an update once services have been restored.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And we are tracking Tropical Storm Melissa at 4 o'clock this afternoon. It was located just about 170 miles southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica, or 185 miles southeast of the capital, Kingston. We have with us the Minister of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications, Darrell Vaz. Of course, his portfolio critical in a time like this. Minister Vaz, in July last year, August last year, you were incensed at the slow pace of restoration. I know you've talked about the line crew that we have coming in from, I think it's St. Vincent. But what about things like poles and that kind of a thing? I recall that being a challenge in terms of the restoration.
So I've been assured by the president who actually came during the middle of the restoration last year, if you recall, Hugh Grant, that they have gotten personnel, they have gotten resources, they have gotten equipment, and basically they are much more prepared for the possibility of a storm or a hurricane coming into the weekend. I have no reason to doubt them. I have a very good working relationship with the new president, and we are in touch up to a mere hour or two ago, and I will continue to be in touch with him. But I have been assured that the company is in a position of readiness to respond to any eventuality.
Minister,
obviously we can't judge as to what the extent of the effects of the weather event will be, but suffice it to say that preparing for a hurricane preparation is in place.
Yeah.
Minister, assurances are wonderful and we hope those assurances are kept to, but at the end of the day, I think nothing is more readily responsive in terms of a company when they're facing the threat of potential sanction. Mm-hmm. Have we put in place those necessary sanctions if the JPS doesn't meet its requirements?
So that falls under the remit of the OUR, who I also had a discussion with today. And of course, the new electricity license, which is due in 2027, is going to address that in full sum. So I would have to say that we are still working within the confines of what the OUR regulations are, but suffice it to say, as I said before, based on the experience of Beryl, that there's a much better understanding and a much better understanding of what is expected by the government of Jamaica. And of course, the OUR, in my discussion today, I made sure to indicate to them that they need to be vigilant on this matter. Mm-hmm. In the coming days.
You can't have been pleased to hear the CEO indicating that there may be potential increases in the electricity bills.
He was answering a question, and I think he answered it honestly.
But Minister, you appreciate that it sent jitters through the population.
Absolutely. And obviously the question was raised by no other than Nationwide doing their job as they always do. But the bottom line is, as I said before, the assurance that I want to give is not that there may not be, but if there's going to be, it will be better communicated and better managed, and also the customers will be taken into consideration in terms of ability to pay and what period will it be spread over rather than just one lump sum, etc. But I don't even want to cross that until such time as it happens. I hope that it does not, but the reality is the reality.
Yeah.
So that's where we are, and I just want to say again that I give my full assurance I was due to travel, which I have now cancelled on government business, to be here to make sure that I oversee my portfolio responsibilities.
Telecommunications also a sore spot. What are you hearing from the two major telecoms?
They've given me the assurances that they're better prepared and have equipment and better positioned for being able to respond and refuel, etc. So I think all in all the preparation is better, and as I said, it's left to be seen based on the magnitude of the event.
And the matters of Transport, Minister, in terms of keeping the bus services open as much as possible, you have a little bit more pull in terms of that.
Absolutely. As long as the safety is not compromised, we'll go right to the end. And as I said before, out of adversity comes opportunity. Because you'd have heard the announcement from Transport Authority. So persons are going to get back their vehicles that have been seized for various reasons in order to be able to respond to the hurricane.
Let me take you.
I have another interview, so I'm going to run and leave you and give them 5 minutes.
Oh, all right then, no problem.
All the best.
Okay. Daryl Vaz there, the Minister of Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. I wanted to ask him about the rural school bus system, and not related to the tropical storm.
Yes, consider the disruptions. It's a reasonable question. I'm sure he will listen to this later and he will provide a response. But Ricardo?
But you know what's interesting about each one? That became so controversial, and then it's almost as if it doesn't.
It's normalized.
Yeah, precisely. And you really ask yourself, what was all that about? But then you know the answer. It was about politics.
Well, I'm happy to hear that the assurances have been given to the minister and to the people that to the best of their abilities, our infrastructure seems ready to weather the storm.
Can I knock on?
I did it yesterday. You are welcome to do it today. As I said, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating, and it remains to be seen if those promises will be seen coming to fruition at the end of the day.
But your responsibility at this hour is to prepare as best you can, ensure that you have adequate supplies of water, ensure that you have the necessary tin food. I know some people don't like the tin food, but make sure you have it. It's important. Any kind of solar lantern, flashlights, that kind of thing you'll need, because you heard from the JPS CEO that the power will go out. Yeah, it will go out. The question is how long, for how long, and how quickly they'll be able to restore. So make the necessary preparation, and for Pete's sake, leave some of the bread for some away.
Well, somebody in the YouTube chat says you didn't live through Gilbert, so you don't.
No, I didn't live through Gilbert, but I did live through Gilbert. I was anyway.
You barely.
Yeah, I was alive though, so I lived through it. But it was 37 years ago. We've changed. We've come a long way since then. And I'm saying I don't anticipate that in the event, maybe it's a trauma from them.
I think
I see young people hoarding the bread as well.
I think Gilbert left an indelible mark on a lot of older Jamaicans. As to the younger ones, maybe they're just following the lead of their elders.
You buying the bread yet?
No. I've kind of cut out bread from my diet, so there's not really much in terms of bread at my house.
Books, you buy bread yet? No, books. Books, I mean, always a bread.
I don't know if to say it's fortunate or unfortunate, but this event has aligned itself with the normal pay cycle.
So you're rich. You're rich.
I won't go that far, but it lined up with me just doing my normal grocery shopping. I did my normal grocery shopping, and I believe that should sustain.
VBP's asking me if I buy the cabbage and the bully beef. No, I haven't bought the cabbage and the bully beef yet, but I suspect at some point during the weekend I will have that. They were asking, what's the ideal hurricane food?
And you said cabbage and bully beef?
Cabbage and bully beef with some yellow.
I don't know if the Gilbert people had the cabbage and they had the bully beef, but I don't know about the cabbage.
And I understand that some people stopped eating it because they had so much of it that they just stopped eating it completely.
I can imagine. It must make for a very monotonous diet to have to go through that day and day.
Bully beef. But preparation is the order of the day. Prepare. Tropical storm Melissa is 170 miles southeast of Morant Point, and it's 185 miles southeast of the capital, Kingston. So you want to be prepared. It's barely moving. It's moving at 2 miles per hour, and it has a whole lot of water, a lot of rain coming our way, and the Met Service says that should start tonight into tomorrow. And then gradually over the weekend, things should deteriorate. By the time it gets into our neck of the woods on Sunday, it's expected to be a Category 3 hurricane, which is a pretty powerful system, yeah? So be prepared.
Stay safe, Jamaicans.
The headlines are next.
Cover story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations. The hour was brought to you by the new Doritos Zinger from KFC. The delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy Zinger and Doritos. Also available in Barbecue Zinger, limited time only. KFC Doritos Zinger, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Jamaica should begin experiencing heavy rains and thunderstorms later this evening as a tropical storm Melissa continues its trek across the central Caribbean. That's according to the latest update from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. A tropical storm warning and hurricane watch remains in effect for the island. The Met Service says Melissa could become a major hurricane by Sunday. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, is warning Jamaicans to brace for a possible increase in electricity bills following the passage of Tropical Storm Melissa. Hugh Grant is the CEO of JPS.
In full transparency, I would say some of the potential pressures that a bill has is based on the change in the fuel mix that we have during storms. The unit that supplies our liquefied natural gas, due to threats and the adverse weather conditions, they're going to go ahead and demobilize. Units that are able to burn the alternate diesel oil, those units will burn alternate diesel oil. The reality is that's a more pricey commodity than liquefied natural gas, so that could potentially have upward pressures on the bill.
He added that the lack of renewable energy for use in a storm may also play a role in a potential increase in bills. But he says JPS is in dialogue with the OUR to limit the increases as much as possible.
Renewable energy, wind and solar are significantly curtailed. Curtailment in the order of over 80%. Therefore, in terms of the availability of that, you're talking about less than 20%. So in Jamaica, we have just over 50 megawatts of solar. The expected output during a hurricane, given the cloud cover, is pretty much zero. So you now are going to have to be running other units that's burning fossil fuel to offset that to meet the customer demand. Those combined effects leads to potential upward trends in regards to bills and the impact. But we'll work with regulators and other agencies to see what we can do to soften or minimize that.
Hugh Grant, CEO of JPS. State Minister for Local Government Delroy Williams says the preparations are well advanced at drop-in centers to accommodate the homeless during the passage of Tropical Storm Melissa. He made the statement on Thursday during a tour of a homeless facility in Kingston.
Preparations are ahead. The homeless persons who are here will be accommodated easily, but any overflow of homeless persons who normally are not here and reside here, we are ensuring that we are ahead in terms of accommodating for them. They have already organized to, if necessary, transport persons from the streets to here in the event that that is necessary. Normally they would come on their own, but sometimes we have some persons who prefer to remain outside, and we don't want that to happen. So we are quite comfortable that across the island arrangements are being put in place by the municipal corporations to ensure that we take care of the homeless population and other vulnerable groups.
Delroy Williams, the State Minister for Local Government. A full list of shelters is available on the Local Government Ministry's website. Meanwhile, Mayor of Kingston Andrew Swaby is urging vulnerable individuals to make use of the shelters and not wait until it's too late.
We have been going on the road sensitizing them already to say when the rain starts to fall, these are the locations. The buses will be out, we'll be working with our poor relief officers along with our mental health department, the mental health department of the Ministry of Health, to get these persons inside. It shouldn't be much of a difficult to get them inside once they know persons that they recognize. There's a feeding point that takes place, and our poor relief officers are the ones that mainly go out there and feed them, so they're accustomed to them. So we just want to make sure that we get them off the street and have them somewhere they can get a bath, get some food, and even if medical help, we can get medical help to them.
Andrew Swaby, Mayor of Kingston. The Labour and Social Security Ministry has activated its parish offices across the island as it ramps up preparations for Tropical Storm Melissa. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says response teams are on standby in all 14 parishes to provide support where necessary. He says care packages have also been dispatched across the island.
Care supplies have already been distributed in St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary, and the ministry's communication systems are fully operational. Each of our parish managers, administrators, and social workers have been assigned a mobile phone within a closed user group network to ensure that we have seamless coordination during emergencies, or as best as possible. We want to reassure the public that all mechanisms are in place to respond effectively and to provide timely assistance to affected individuals and families. This is our goal.
Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security. The Airports Authority of Jamaica, AAJ, is encouraging incoming travelers to stay informed on weather and flight updates as a tropical storm Melissa approaches the island. Audley Diedrich is the president of the AAJ.
Pay very close and keen attention to the weather bulletins as to when flights will operate or cease to operate and when the airports will remain open or closed. That's the best information I can give at this point in time. I would not want to issue a blanket statement to say don't come to Jamaica. I think that's dangerous. But to keep very close marking of the weather bulletins and the airlines and their announcements and the airports and their announcements.
Audley Diedrich, president of the AAJ. In a post on its Instagram page on Thursday, Sangster International Airport says it remains open and will continue normal operations. But travelers are being advised to contact their airline for the latest flight updates or to make changes to reservations before heading to the airport. The Norman Manley International Airport is also operating as usual. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz says the airports will rely on updates from the Met Office to guide operations.
The question that is being asked out there, is there a possibility of the airports being closed? So I made sure to clarify that with the Airports Authority. The minute that a hurricane warning, not a watch, a warning has been issued, it is likely that the airports will close within 24 hours. It is not a must that both of them will be closed at the same time. It's all dependent on the tracking of the storm or the hurricane and the elements in terms of the locations of the two airports, which are obviously on the sea. So for right now, airports remain open.
Darrell Vaz, the Transport Minister. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
MSME operators, the NWC MSME Amnesty is a lifeline. Grab it. Apply between September 1 and November 30, 2025. Visit nwcjamaica.com. Email us at customercare@nwc.com.jm. You can also visit any commercial office or dial 888-NWC. Get a 50% debt write-off on your small commercial account if you pay all other outstanding debts or sign a payment agreement to do so in 3 months. Apply today.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Former Jamaican batsman Martin Neita has given a brutal assessment on the state of cricket in Jamaica and the wider region. Neita's critique of the system pointed to a catastrophic collapse of the grassroots level, a coaching crisis, and the damaging influence of T20 cricket on the young players. Neita says regional cricket is in a really bad way, but Jamaica is even worse.
When you look at our cricket, I'm telling you, it is worse than we really realize. And if it is this bad in Jamaica, I don't know what it is regionally, but if it is as bad regionally, then I'm telling you, man, it's going to take a generation or two for cricket to come back.
Nita highlighted a shocking decline in participation, revealing that the number of schools playing cricket has plummeted from over 90 to just 30 in more parishes. And he says some areas have no high school in local competition, highlighting that the collapse of the traditional feeding ground has left clubs teetering on disaster. He also identified a dual problem with the players who do emerge, saying they have a fixation on power hitting over technique and a critical shortage of qualified coaches. He says the Jamaica Cricket Board has not invested in the coaches.
One of the biggest problems we have in the clubs, whenever we get the talent, is that we don't have coaches. The Cricket Board in Jamaica has not invested in equipping proper coaches. The good quality players, everybody turn rich and nobody comes back to the clubs. You know, I heard mention of somebody earlier said that people like Archer and stuff is in the dressing room in Barbados. Well, there's no such person in Jamaica. Once these guys start to make money, they turn their back on the clubs.
Nita says the insularity in West Indies cricket has gone right up to the very top, where the individuals who were appointed in regional cricket have been doing so because of where the president is from. Hence, we have, he says, Darren Sammy, who is in charge of all the West Indies team, which he says is not a good thing.
Is King Sammy. I mean, it's might as well they call him King Trump. I mean, he wears the same kind of crown, you know, and this to me is killing our cricket, because the cricket is bigger than one person. And I think you can't have people paying platitudes, say, oh, Brian Lara, this, but they're not really involved in the game. We need to have a real conversation about our cricket in the region.
Mark Nita, former Jamaican batsman. Bangladesh registered their biggest victory in one-day international cricket over the West Indies. They clobbered the two-time world champions by 179 runs in capital city Dhaka today to take their three-match series by 2-1. The host elected to bat and got off to a flying start with Soumya Sarkar 91 and Saif Hassan 80, putting on 176 for the opening wicket as they helped to steer the Tigers to 296 for 8 in their 50 overs. Najmul Hussain Shanto, he weighed in with a 44, 2 wickets going to, in fact, 4 of them going to Akhil Hussain and 2 going to Ali Kathanes. The West Indies simply could not cope with the Bangladeshi spinners, and they were bowled out for 117 in the 31st over.
And gone. Mehdi Hasan Miraj hits the timber as Bangladesh go on to seal an emphatic win over West Indies and a series win as well. They go on to win by 179 runs, and their dominance against the West Indies continues. It's their 4th ODI series victory at home against West Indies and 5th out of 6 ODI series overall.
And Hussain top scored for the West Indies with 27 as Najmul Ahmed bagged the 3 for 11, and man of the series Rishad Hussain picked up 3 for 54. Captain Shea Hope says it was a very tough ask to get the 297 runs to win because of how the Bangladeshis batted and how the West Indies bowled.
It was tough. So I still think it was like a 170, 180 surface. So if you give them so many runs, you know, for us as batters to chase, it's going to be difficult. But having said that, regardless of what they score in the first innings, we got to try to find a way to make the runs. If the bowlers didn't do it in a particular situation, then the batters got to raise their hand, and we didn't do that as batters today.
The teams will now turn their attention to the 3-match T20 International Series, which gets going on Monday, and Hope is banking on his players to turn their fortunes around.
It's a different series, different format, same mindset. We got to make sure we come down here to win games, and every single game I always say is very important. But again, we got to get to Charter Ground and see what the services is like, adapt, assess, and hopefully we can play better cricket in that series.
That's West Indies white ball captain Shea Hope. India sealed their spot in the semi-finals of the ICC Women's World One Day International Cup with a 53-run win over the New Zealand team under the Duckworth-Lewis method in Mumbai on Thursday. India posted their highest World Cup total of 340 for 3, and this despite facing just 49 overs, reduced by 1 due to a rain interruption. Pratika Raul 122 and Smriti Mandana 109 got impressive centuries, and Jamea Rodriguez an unbeaten 76 to steer the Indians to their big total. New Zealand were then asked to get 325 in 44 overs, the highest ever chase in one-day internationals after another 2 hours were lost to rain. Brooke Halliday's 81 and Isabella Garzet's unbeaten 65 highlighted the Kiwi chase as they made 271 for 8. World champion South Africa, they recovered to draw their series with Pakistan 1-1 by completing a comfortable 8-wicket win in the second test in Rawalpindi. It ended today. Pakistan resumed in trouble on 94 for 4 in their second innings with a lead of 23, and they slipped further when they lost Babar Azam leg before to Simon Harmer for 50. And that started a collapse of 6 for 44 on the fourth morning with Essex off-spinner Harmer taking 6 for 50 and Pakistan falling to 138 all out. Harmer's 6th wicket, and Norman Halley, caught behind by wicketkeeper Kyle Vermeeren, was his 1,000th in first-class cricket. Quite impressive, you know. The Proteas, set 6-8 to win, reached their target, even with the loss of Aiden Markram for 42 and Tristan Stubb, who went for a 4-ball duck. Victory was the first in Pakistan for 18 years, ending a 4-match winless run in the country. Kenya's marathon world record holder Ruth Chepngetich has been banned for 3 years after admitting to anti-doping violations. The 31-year-old Chepngetich was suspended in July after tests showed the banned substance hydrochlorothiazide in her samples. However, her marathon world record of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 56 seconds will still stand. The Athletics Integrity Unit, the AIU, pushed for a 4-year ban, but the punishment was settled at 3 as she admitted to the violations. Jamaican international Leon Bailey came on as a second-half substitute. In fact, he came on in minute 67 on Thursday as his Italian Serie A side AS Roma were beaten 2-1 at home by Victoria Plzen in the Europa Cup on Thursday. It was Roma's second straight defeat at home, and this followed their 1-0 defeat to Inter Milan on Sunday in the Italian Serie A at the Stadio Olimpico, where Bailey made his debut also as a second-half substitute. English Premier League outfit Nottingham Forest, they won 2-0 at home over FC Porto. Celtic defeated Sturm Graz 2-1, and Olympique Lyonnais from France, they turned back Basel of Switzerland by 2-0. Chauncey Billups, head coach of the NBA team Portland Trail Blazers, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and former NBA player Damon Jones were arrested by the FBI officials on Thursday in what has been reported as their connection in sports betting and illegal gambling. Billups and Rozier are expected to make court appearances, and they should have done so today, in Oregon and Florida, respectively. According to Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, this was a calculated arrest that the organization was tracking for some time.
But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra.
And Patel says the FBI will continue to crack down on illegal gambling in sport and commended his team for the work.
It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Casa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people from money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior.
That's FBI Director Kash Patel. Adam Silver is NBA Commissioner, and he says the league has clear rules as it regards illegal gambling and betting.
You know, just the mere betting on a game, even if it had nothing to do with your particular performance, you know, will result in a suspension, you know, and possibly the end of your career. So, you know, again, we live in an environment of legalized sports betting. And by the way, not just in the United States, but the NBA is a global league. I mean, remember when sports betting was legalized in the United States, it was already for decades had been widely legal throughout Europe. You know, in the old days, it's all moved to the internet now, but in the old days, you know, you could go to a soccer game in England and they had betting windows.
That's NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. That's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Doritos and KFC, cheesy, delicious, crunchy. New collaboration, run the country. Doritos Zinger, hot and spicy. Doritos nacho cheese chips, cheddar cheese sauce. We not leave it. KFC with the extra crunch. The new Doritos Zinger, I want for lunch. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, the delicious combination of KFC's hot and spicy zinger and the irresistible flavor of Doritos. Available for a limited time. KFC and Doritos, a crunch that's finger-licking good.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? GeoLand Title Limited is the place to be. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates, first-time registration, land surveys included, affordable rates and flexible payment options, National Land Agency adjudication and land titling waivers available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. GeoLand Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
This is a public service announcement from Flow. Flow advises all customers that its offices and retail stores will be closed on Friday, October 24, 2025, due to the tropical storm warning currently in effect for Jamaica. Customers are encouraged to use Flow's online and digital channels Flow FastPay, My Flow app, topupflow.com, or Top Up Flow app to manage their account, payments, or top-up. Please stay tuned for further updates as we monitor the weather developments. Flow thanks you for your understanding and encourages everyone to take all necessary precautions to remain safe. That was a public service announcement from Flow.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robeanne Williams. A special one to our friends over there on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. So, The storm is slowly but surely approaching in terms of in the Caribbean Sea. This moving across the central Caribbean Sea. We're scheduled to get some rain later this evening. But on that note, the Director of Corporate Communications of the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, Winsome Callum, says the power company is in a better position than it was last year to respond to customers. And Ms. Callum says that the company's Emergency Operations Center has been activated to facilitate quick responses.
Right now, we're looking island-wide. We have not at this point identified any specific community or parish, but we do know that there are some areas that are prone to flooding, and we have had access challenges, especially in communities where you have the hilly terrain. We do expect that there will be outages. There is no plan with a tropical storm. There's really no plan to have a system shutdown that the company will initiate. However, there will be outages, so we are in a much better place to respond.
One thing for certain, two things for sure, we're gonna get some outages. Winsome Callum there, she's the Director of Corporate Communications of the JPS. She was speaking during Nationwide at 5 on Wednesday. Now, the JPS says it has also mobilized regional support. Some line workers from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines arrived in the country on Wednesday, and I gather that some more line workers came in earlier today to help with restoration efforts. So, in public opinion this evening, we're asking, how confident are you in JPS's ability to restore power quickly post-tropical storm Melissa? Based on what we've heard from the JPS, how confident are you that they will be able to restore our power quickly whenever these outages occur? On Facebook, George Elliott is saying it appears that they have drawn on the experience with Beryl and are better prepared to deal with electricity loss that might result from Melissa. Philip Jackson is saying, I'm not there. Yes, by now we all know Philip Jackson is not in Jamaica. But he's saying, based on the press release to the media this morning, he was impressed. In the best effort, he's saying, we will face challenges. But what I heard, they all are better prepared. So things should be better. We can only hope. Natalie Winter is saying, it's definitely difficult to gauge this one. Yeah. As you know, based on hilly terrains, the access to communities. Frassout is saying, I did not lose power during Beryl. Funny enough, I never lose power all throughout Beryl. Yeah, I had power all throughout Beryl. Let's hope it remains the same for me and for many of you. Barbara is saying, once bitten, twice shy. And as a Jamaican, you know what that mean. Now we're going no further. Marcia Lewis is saying 3%. She has 3% confidence. That no sound will leap still. 3% confidence in JPS's ability to restore power quickly following tropical storm Melissa. 0%. No, we just keep going down the rabbit hole. It just keeps getting worse. Michelle Bernard is saying 0% confidence. She believes that they are deceptive and very, I won't say the latter part of this. Janet Shakespeare saying 0. And Robert Ranger say he can't say. Also saying 0% on our Instagram platform is iBossy saying 0%. Sensational also saying 0. How confident are you in JPS's ability to restore power quickly following tropical storm Melissa? Let me go to see if we can have the comments on our Insta. This is YouTube. Hi, Leroy Rotti. Let me see. Chin Bella is saying not holding a bit. All right, so that's unrelated right there. That's unrelated right there. Wow. Spurtree Home Away Villas is saying 0 confidence. Not after last year. I waited 4 months before I get back power in Manchester. Spurtree. Wow. 4 months. Wow. Ay. Let me see if I can get in a few more of these comments. Maxine is saying the people that buy out JPS and Golding are the same. Okay. Delia is saying after the hurricane, I'll comment. Yeah, after the hurricane, I'll comment. Thank you so much, Glow Joe B. Thank you very much. Same old, says Anthony Williams. Cert saying 0%. The Jamaican Labour Party in power, everything will be okay, says Delroy. JPS workers want tip-off first for grease them palm. Wow, that's coming from Cynthia. Spurtree says 0% from me in Manchester. Not after last year I went through. I had to spend over 200,000 and I didn't get back power until 4 months' time. That indeed is crazy. 10%, says Carlene Smith. 10% confidence. It looked like 7 days for my electricity. Oh, it took 7 days for them to restore your electricity after burial. Thank you so much, Chinbella. All right. You know what I'm more concerned about, and many of my fellow Jamaicans, you too, are concerned about, is this story that we brought, right, in 5 o'clock from JPS. This story we brought about on storm bills, that one is a little bit concerning, because one would imagine if my light gone during storm or hurricane, how me I go expect increase in my electricity bill? Me just ask. Like, I don't know how it works or how it's gonna work, but me kind of concerned about my electricity bill after tropical storm Melissa has passed. I don't know if I'm the only one. Yeah, but JPS says it's working with OUR. Yeah, it's working with OUR to see how they can lessen the blow. Yeah, that one is a little bit concerning for me. Nightbreed is saying, my confidence in JPS is to rise my bills after the hurricane. Yeah, Barbara Ellington says, very confident. Let me see if I can get that one again from Barbara. Let me see. Barbara Ellington saying, very confident. Soon find it back. Very confident in the price increase. Tia, you see what I tell you about? Wow. Yeah, I have some concerns in that regard. Diaspora is a justice for Roby. Can you imagine? Orinthia Campbell saying, have no confidence. Have no confidence. Novelet says, for crying out loud, give thanks, we will be okay. We didn't grow up, some older ones like me, with electricity. Ah, boy. Yeah. Good news is saying I find it puzzling too, Roby, because if light gone, how am I going to increase in my bill? Orinthia says no confidence. Barbara Ellington says 100%. How them learn to bring overseas help quick, but never learn to budget fuel expense. Yeah. Josephine says no confidence. Me don't know, I just wait and see. I want to wait and see to see, what will happen for the November month end going on, to see how my bill will look. Because if I see one big elevator jump, Anyways, guys, please, we're asking you to remain safe, stay safe, keep dry as much as you possibly can. I want to know about a chance it, right? If you want to drive, I want to see the road inundated with flood waters. Nobody drive through, nobody chance it. Nobody can cross it moment. All right. Blessings to each and everybody. The business report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. As Jamaica braces for the potential effects of Tropical Storm Melissa, JN Money is urging remittance recipients to prioritize their safety while accessing funds, especially as agent locations may experience higher than usual customer traffic at this time. Now, the company is urging customers to take advantage of digital channels to reduce exposure to crowded locations and minimize the impact of any agent closures or service disruptions that may be caused by the approaching weather system. VM Building Society VMBS says it has deepened its commitment to the diaspora with the relocation of its New York representative office to Church Avenue in the heart of Flatbush in Brooklyn. VMBS says this new larger space, which is set to officially open on November 5, offers walk-in access for the first time. VMBS says this relocation, a change from the appointment-only model at the previous Cadman Plaza office, marks a significant milestone in its diaspora growth strategy and reaffirms its commitment to strengthening ties with the Jamaican diaspora across North America. Now, current and prospective members can visit the new office to open savings accounts and access mortgages, as well as connect with experts on the wider VM Group suite of products and services. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 161 Jamaican dollars and 23 cents to buy $1 US, 216 Jamaican dollars and 54 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 61 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robian Williams. Have a good one.
Already have a T-Tag for your vehicle? Just top it up and go through. Now you can see funds in your T-Tag account almost immediately after topping up. So if you're already on your journey, you can safely pull off the road and top up using the My T-Tag app or WhatsApp, or ask a passenger to do it for you. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you can enjoy the lower toll rates and other benefits of the T-Tag lane. Even if you forget to top up before you started your trip, top up your T-Tag and continue to go through quicker and cheaper on Transjam highways.
My Mega Mart. With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Everybody needs a helping hand, somebody to understand. In the end, we're all human. For people living with HIV, no discrimination. Here to support them through. Respect you as usual. Got to protect them too. Whether your friend or your family, somebody in your community. People living with HIV. Protect, accept, and respect people living with HIV. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With the Stinger Honeybee
and Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to EZONE blinddates@gmail.com. That's EZoneblinddates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at EZoneConfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, by God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path. Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Good afternoon, good evening, listeners and viewers. Welcome back. It's now time for the nation's business, and I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks. Now, the Ministry of Health wants families to pick up relatives admitted for non-critical conditions at hospitals across the island as Tropical Storm Melissa approaches. The Portfolio Minister, Christopher Tufton, made the appeal at a special media briefing at the Office of the Prime Minister today.
While hospitals remain open, outpatient services and elective surgeries will be suspended for the time being to focus on the emergencies. Visitations will be limited, and family members are asked to pick up their relatives who have been admitted for non-critical reasons, and the respective hospitals will reach out to those family members. We have to reserve bed space just in case we need them for emergencies.
That's Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. He says the centers will remain open until 4 p.m. today.
In terms of health centers, we remain open until 4 p.m. today. A further update on our health centers will be provided tomorrow. So up to 4 p.m. you can access health centers across the country. We have 325 across the country. In terms of the system readiness, there are approximately 116 priority facilities, 25 hospitals, and 91 type 3 to 5 health centers. A verification exercise has been conducted with key capacity indicators.
That's Dr. Christopher Tufton. Now, he says that residents are being advised to make emergency kits as part of their preparation for the impact of the storm.
I want to just use the opportunity, having given these specifics, to encourage Jamaicans to work with us to ensure their safety and good health during this period. Ensure that you have at least 72 hours of essentials in a storm-ready kit, somewhere that it can keep dry, okay? And a storm-ready kit is sophisticated sounding, but it could be a plastic bag. Ensure that you include in this non-perishable food. Water is essential because waterborne diseases tends to be the logical consequence after a storm. Medications, flashlights, battery-powered radio, and extra batteries.
That is the Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton. Well, we're now being joined by the Ministry's Director of Emergency Disaster Management and Special Services. That's Dr. Nicole Dawkins Wright. But before we go to her, we do have a public service announcement from Flow. Flow advises all customers that its offices and retail stores will be closed on Friday. That's October 24, 2025, and that's due to the tropical storm warning currently in effect for Jamaica. Customers are encouraged to use Flow's online and digital channels, Flow Fast Pay, My Flow app, topupflow.com, or Top Up Flow app to manage their account and make payments or top-ups. They say please stay tuned for further updates as they monitor the weather developments. Flow thanks its customers for their understanding and encourages everyone to take all necessary precautions to remain safe. And that was a public service announcement from Flow. We now turn to Dr. Nicole Dawkins Wright. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening.
Good evening, and good evening to your listeners.
So the state of readiness for the health sector, that is going to be critical as we make preparations for Tropical Storm Melissa. Can you give us a brief overview as to what state of readiness we're in?
Okay, so in general, our primary role is to provide two main things should we be impacted by the storm. So we do have our public health measures that we must maintain to ensure health protection and promotion. And if persons become ill or injured, our services must be able to provide emergency medical care for them. And so we would have had to have made some preparation to make some adjustments in how we deploy our team members to ensure that the increasing requirements for public health is also done, as well as to ensure that our accident and emergency departments and our health facilities can receive the critical cases. Persons who are injured with emergency care can be admitted should in case we have any operational challenges. So our preparations would have started at least from the first time the Met Office would have issued an alert, and so we'd have to take stock up as to where we are in terms of our operational capacity to do so. So our preparations will run to include ensuring that we have the people available. So we roster our key practitioners. We check on our facilities to ensure they can continue operating. And then we also ensure we take some measures to allow for the hospitals to operate and admit persons who may be there. So that may include reducing some level of operations, so like elective surgeries, for example. We would have suspended those to allow for emergency cases if it comes up, as well as increasing need in terms of blood and blood products. We have those prepared as well. And our accident and emergency departments as well can receive persons in our labor and delivery of maternity suite, persons who make pregnant and close to go into labor, is able to provide those services.
So just to be clear, the health services at the time of this tropical storm will probably be limited to emergency access and critical care.
Yes. So in terms of how we would normally operate, so you would have gotten the information I shared from the press earlier today. So we would have closed services at our health centers at 4 p.m. today, and our hospitals, the clinicians in facilities would have looked at persons who were able to go home safely, review those cases to discharge them.
And on that,
to allow for that scaled-down operation.
And on that, in terms of potential interruptions to, say, utilities, communications, are the hospitals capable of ensuring those lines remain open in terms of communication channels and that services aren't disrupted due to a fall in, say, electricity or water supplies?
So our hospitals, for example, would be what we call our priority facilities to have. There are certain parts of the hospitals that must remain operating. So all hospitals have generators, but we may be limited in terms of the generators covering every square foot of the hospital. What we call these essential areas are operating theatre, or A&E, or maternity wards, and our ICU rescue, they will be equipped with a generator and backup power supply, and also water storage facility to allow for continuous water provision, to allow for proper water and sanitation requirements and infection and prevention control. So that is in place in terms of our hospitals at present. There are a few that may not be able to run as long as 72 hours without external support, but that's for the very minimum. We have arrangements to ensure that they can be replenished as soon as possible if it becomes necessary. For the health centers, what we normally do, again, we would scale down operations, but our staff would be in place that if persons turn up and need medical attention, we can conduct an assessment and either provide care at the time or make arrangements for them to receive care in one of our facilities.
Doc, in the case of an emergency like this, how do you treat with the social cases?
That's an interesting question. So we do have persons who have difficulties finding spaces at home. Now, we do have a social work department, and we would have had some contact, and of course, we'd have intensified efforts to see the persons who need to go home. We work very closely, for example, with the Ministry of Local Government in terms of our infirmaries, etc., for if there are spaces that they can accommodate them. And if persons are unable to go home, then clearly we can't persons on the street, so we would have to manage as best as we can. But generally speaking, there is usually some improvements and persons who are available that we can send some persons home.
And about how many social cases do you have now presently across the system?
I would not want to answer you right now, but I can certainly get that information to you to give you the most current figure as soon as I'm able to.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number right now.
That's fair. So you're saying essentially that in an emergency like this, you get a sense that more people come in to take their relatives, or do they still say, well, they're fine because they're in hospital?
No, we do have some who will come, and yes, some, as I said, there are sometimes persons are in largely because they need some assistance in terms of, care at home, and so sometimes can point them in directions to connect them to certain services.
Yeah.
It helps them to accommodate home.
Yeah.
So there are those persons, and of course, you do have persons who will make their way elsewhere on their own when crises like these happen.
Yeah.
So there are some procedures, and it tends to happen. We don't usually get an increasing number of persons who will bring person in and abandon their families at Indian Hospital.
Yes.
So we won't add to the number,
Okay.
but as much as who is there, we try as best as we can.
That's good to hear. So for our seniors who may be at home, or those who may have serious illnesses and they rely on medication, in a time like this, what should they be doing? How should they be approaching the SNOR?
Right. So we would have again just send out a general advice to the public to stock up on their medications as much as possible, at least a week's supply. And if you have not done so already, then certainly should move ahead to ensure you finish our supplies that you have at home. And if there's an order for evacuation, wherever you go, you take them with. So our pharmacies are open to allow for persons to have access to replenish their medications, whether it's in the public system or otherwise, and so they can ensure that they have at least sufficient supply in case they have issues in terms of roadways, etc.
In terms of there being some cases, for example, an elderly citizen or someone in critical need of assistance, do they contact the hospital directly in terms of requiring help, or do they go through emergency services?
So they can. So we do have, most persons who are at home usually have the numbers for the local facility in their respective areas, and so they reach out. And if someone reaches out, we do have our community health workers or community health aides who know persons who may need additional support. So generally speaking, that's the first point of contact. And in situations like these, our community health aides would reach out to those shut-ins or persons who need a little bit more assistance and do regular checks on them. And if necessary, we do the necessary support to connect them to care if it becomes necessary. If they do have to reach out again, like I said, it is that the community health would not have reached out to them or their family members. They can, in fact, reach out to their local facilities that's closest to them or the hospital in their parish. And of course, they reach out to us at the contact center or the ministry's One Love number. They make connections, we identify where they may be, and if they need care, we connect them to services, and if we need to do some kind of rescue, we arrange through the parish disaster office to ensure a person can be connected to care.
And specifically about the hospital infrastructure itself, are you concerned there are hospitals or other facilities located in what you would consider risky or essentially dangerous areas in terms of the passage of a storm? And are there plans in place for potentially evacuating those facilities if it becomes necessary?
So, I'm keeping with most of our development in country. A lot of our facilities are unfortunately on the coastline or on the lower end, generally speaking, in country. It's not just our health facilities, but hospitals are where people are. But for the most part, they usually tend to be on the higher end of that. But we do have some that are a little bit more vulnerable than others, and we are aware of those. So to date, we've never had to evacuate hospital. I mean, apart from way back when we had significant damage in some of our facilities, they would have shifted some of the patients around into different units of that same facility or relocated them. So we've not had a reasonable challenge that way, but if it becomes necessary, we do have what we call a linked system, and if we have the transport system, with the help of our partners and our collaborating entities, we have to transfer persons to other facilities if they become affected. We do have some arrangements for that. But we pray that won't become necessary because we do understand the limitation and the capacity that we have.
Understood. And just another one for me, I think it's not something that many people consider in these cases, but patient information and critical data and other such things, are we certain those are secure in the time of such a potential disaster?
The management of medical and health records, we do have a very high standard because those are, as you know, very sensitive information. So there is, in fact, a standard operating procedure that relates to the protection of our health records. And so each facility will have their respective mechanisms to guard these documents and ensure they're as protected as they can be. We do have, as you may have heard our announcements before, that we are piloting, for example, some electronic health records mechanisms. So we do have development in terms of our ICT services to seek the protection of our electronic health records. So those measures are currently in play, but at present time, our system is still pretty much a paper-based system. And so we do have a mechanism to protect those records. And that is what we will initiate at this time. And so as the launch, as far as we activate in this mode, then the measures would have been taken from our regional health records teams to ensure to secure the records in the best way possible.
Yeah. Dr. Nicole Dawkins-Wright, the Director of Emergency Disaster Management and Special Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Have a great
it.
day.
You too.
Before we go to the next segment, listeners, another public service announcement, this time from Jets Limited. Jets Limited, the operator of the multi-link debit network, advises that some customers may currently be experiencing intermittent difficulty completing transactions between financial institutions at ABMs or point-of-sale machines. It says their team is working quickly to restore normal service and is monitoring the situation closely. In the meantime, customers may continue to use their own bank's ABMs or POS terminals, which remain fully operational. Jets Limited says it regrets any inconvenience caused and will provide an update once services have been restored.
We are tracking Tropical Storm Melissa at 4 this afternoon. It was about 170 miles southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica, or just about 185 miles southeast of the capital, Kingston. It's moving at about 2 miles per hour, so it's crawling. And a slow forward speed and northern motion is forecast during the next couple of days with a sharp westward turn over the weekend. By Saturday, Melissa is forecast to become a Category 3 hurricane, making it a major system. We're going to take a break, and after the break, we'll take you to some international stories. So come.
The Pink Run, a corporate wellness challenge, encourages physical activity, healthy eating, and age-appropriate health checks. Remember, early detection saves lives. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is...
It's 7 o'clock.
Ever wondered how to spot a scam before it drains your account? Or how Jamaica's top financial crime fighters track down the money? Join the Financial Investigations Division on Nationwide this morning, every first and third Friday at 8:20 a.m. for FID in Action, an informative, engaging feature designed to keep you and your money safe. Learn practical tips to help you spot, prevent, and report financial crimes. Understand how the FID protects the financial system. That's FID in Action, protecting you, preventing financial crime. On Nationwide this morning, every first and third Friday at 8:20 a.m. Brought to you by the Financial Investigations Division.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Okay, welcome back, listeners. As we prepare for Tropical Storm Melissa here, there are still some interesting international developments that must be touched upon. First, from the United States, where President Donald Trump says the existing structure of the White House East Wing must be torn down in order to construct a new $250 million ballroom. Crews began demolishing parts of the structure on Monday. Two administration officials earlier told CBS that it will be completely torn down by the weekend. It marks a significant expansion of the construction project announced over the summer. Trump previously said his ballroom addition would not interfere with the current building. He rejected accusations he had not been transparent over the extent of the works, telling reporters so on Wednesday. However, criticism from opposition politicians has intensified as the scale of the works come into focus. Democratic members of the U.S. House of Representatives have now written to the president, raising their own transparency concerns and requesting a range of documents that relate to the demolition. Conservationists have also suggested the project should have faced more scrutiny at the outset. The White House is considered a special building that is exempt from the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, which would ordinarily require public reviews of projects in which historic buildings are impacted. Well, more in this report from ABC News.
Now to the growing controversy over the demolition at the White House, and all of this playing out in the middle of this government shutdown, now day 22, with thousands of federal workers losing their jobs. Tonight, sources telling ABC News the entire East Wing is expected to be demolished as soon as this weekend to clear the way for President Trump's $300 million ballroom. Some Republicans tonight now questioning the optics of this, especially during this shutdown. And now former First Lady Hillary Clinton saying to the American people, it's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. ABC's Barry Bruce tonight.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News President Trump is aiming to tear down the entire East Wing of the White House by this coming weekend to make way for his new ballroom, which Trump now says will cost $300 million. When he announced the project, the president pledged it would not interfere with the building known as the People's House.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it.
and pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of.
But this week, the nation's capital taken by surprise when bulldozers and cranes started demolition.
In order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure.
So from here we can get a glimpse of this massive construction project, and we can see these huge bulldozers ripping away at the walls, debris flying down everywhere. All that's left of the East Wing now, this mangled, exposed structure.
The original East Wing, built in 1902, it was updated in 1942 and has been the traditional home for the First Lady's offices. In 1962, Jackie Kennedy giving Americans their first televised glimpse. Tonight, former First Lady Hillary Clinton dismayed, posting, "It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it." The National Trust for Historic Preservation is calling on the administration to pause demolition until plans for the proposed ballroom go through the legally required public review processes. They also write they're deeply concerned the planned 90,000 square foot ballroom, larger than the iconic residence building, will overwhelm the White House itself. The White House hasn't submitted plans for the ballroom to the National Capital Planning Commission, but tells us they still intend to, even though demolition is already well underway.
This is an interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it, and it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, donors. To it. The government's paying absolutely nothing.
The president insists this is all paid for with private donations. But on Capitol Hill, some Republican lawmakers wish he'd change the subject. With the government now shut down, thousands of government workers missing paychecks, and millions of Americans now worried about putting food on the table.
We're talking about building a ballroom when we're trying to get the economy squared away. Timing's bad.
Tonight, House Speaker Mike Johnson, who has kept the House out of session for 22 days and counting, praising the president's ballroom plan.
President Trump's going to add the greatest improvement to the White House in the history of the building since it was originally constructed in 1800. The ballroom is going to be glorious. It's going to be used for everybody.
Again, this demolition catching much of Washington by surprise, and the White House still has not submitted the plans for official review. But President Trump tonight insisting he's been, quote, more transparent than anybody's ever been. David.
Mary Bruce at the White House tonight. Mary, thank you.
Well, a lot of questions there regarding what would I consider a historic structure just being torn down for what I would consider the narcissistic whim of the current president.
America is a strange place. Let's go to Paris, France now. The Louvre Museum reopened on Wednesday following a daring daylight heist of the iconic museum. The thieves reportedly parked a truck with an extendable ladder below the museum's Apollo Gallery shortly after it opened, climbing up and using cutting equipment to get through a window and open display cases to steal jewelry. They made off with 8 priceless pieces. This includes an emerald and diamond necklace that Napoleon gave to his wife, and a diadem that once belonged to the Empress Eugenie, which is dotted with nearly 2,000 diamonds. So quite a heist. And it reportedly took just 7 minutes.
A preliminary report revealed that 1 in 3 rooms in the area of the museum raided had no CCTV cameras. Around 60 investigators are working on the case. Prosecutors said their theory is that the robbers were under orders from a criminal organization. The search is on for 4 suspects. The investigators are studying CCTV footage from the escape route. More in this report from ABC News.
7 minutes. That's all it took to rob the world's most famous museum.
Ce drame a profondément choqué les agents du musée du Louvre.
On Sunday morning, 4 masked thieves pulled off a $102 million jewelry heist at the Louvre in record time, triggering national outrage and a massive manhunt. Here's how what many are calling the heist of the century happened minute by minute. 9:30 a.m., a truck with an extendable ladder parks near the Louvre's Seine-facing side. Dressed as construction workers, 2 thieves scale the ladder to a second-floor balcony. Using an angle grinder, they cut through a window into the Apollo Gallery, just rooms away from the Mona Lisa. Inside, they smash 2 display cases and steal 8 pieces of jewelry dating to the Royal French Napoleonic era. The museum's alarm sounds, alerting museum staff and authorities to the theft. The thieves flee down the ladder, hop onto 2 motorbikes, and speed off southeast towards the A6 highway. In their rush, they drop one piece, the crown of Empress Eugenie, which is adorned with over 1,000 diamonds. The crown was recovered on the street outside the museum, but found damaged. Police arrived within minutes and found 2 angle grinders, a blowtorch, gasoline, gloves, a walkie-talkie, a blanket, and the crown at the scene. A yellow vest, possibly from one suspect, was discovered blocks away. The Louvre was closed after the robbery and wasn't reopened until Wednesday morning. The Louvre director, facing questions from lawmakers, revealed one shocking revelation, that the only camera outside the Apollo Gallery was facing the wrong way and did not see that van arrive or the ladder resting on the balcony. It's a fact the 4 suspects may have known and raises the question, were they tipped off by someone on the inside, or even did someone move it for them? Alarms and video cameras in the Louvre worked, she said, but because police were only alerted once the gang had already made entry, it was too late. The stakes now? French President Emmanuel Macron has vowed justice, but experts worry the stolen jewelry can't be openly sold in its current state. The fear is the thieves will dismantle these priceless artifacts, selling the jewels individually and erasing centuries of history forever.
Well, there's some little footage here of the thieves making their escape, and it's courtesy of The Guardian. You can see where the ladder is in the video for those listening, and you can see where the thieves are literally dismounting from the location, heading back down in what I believe is a small ladder, and then they make their way to a motorbike which comes from the scene, and they're now heading
and they
down.
made good their escape.
How was this not seen is what I'm flabbergasted by. It seems almost implausible.
You know, what I'd be interested in is where or how France came by these jewels. Where are they from? Are they from the African continent?
Well, we know the answers to those questions.
Are they from former colonies of France? So, I mean, you know, it's sad that such a historic building has been, you know, robbed. But did France ever own those jewels to begin with? Or are they the fruits of colonization, conquest, and murder?
We know the unique answers to many of those questions when it comes to the crown jewels and
I think those
showpieces in many of these former colonial powers.
I think those answers are relevant when we're talking about and expressing our, you know, sadness.
Do you think this is a political statement by chance, or just?
No, I think it's pure money. I think they're probably gonna, as the report said, break it down and sell them, and I imagine they'd have probably done that already. Yeah, but where did France get the jewels from in the first place? Did they steal it? And from where?
We know the answers to those questions, Ricardo. Even if we don't want to say them out loud, we know the answer to those questions.
Well, something we should talk about. It's 12 minutes after 7. We're going to take your calls now. I don't have the number. You have the number?
The numbers, apologies listeners, adjusting to the new studios, 618-6730. Come chat with us.
The NHT has boosted construction loan limits to 11 million for one applicant and up to 23 million for 3 co-applicants. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 12 minutes after 7.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Home Owner Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
MSME operators, the NWC MSME Amnesty is a lifeline. Grab it. Apply between September 1 and November 30, 2025. Visit nwcjamaica.com. Email us at customercare@nwc.com.jm. You can also visit any commercial office or dial 888-NWC. Get a 50% debt write-off on your small commercial account if you pay all other outstanding debts or sign a payment agreement to do so in 3 months. Apply today.
MSME operators, the NWC MSME Amnesty is a lifeline. Grab it. Apply between September 1 and November 30, 2025. Visit nwcjamaica.com. Email us at customercare@nwc.com.jm. You can also visit any commercial office or dial 888-NWC. Get a 50% debt write-off on your small commercial account if you pay all other outstanding debts or sign a payment agreement to do so in 3 months. Apply today.
It's Monday, get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With this thing on Honeybee.
And Karim Boyatings
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezone blinddates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. The YouTubers are reacting, Siobhan. Some of them are saying they agree that France should say where it first got the jewels from in the first place.
Well, interesting though, the provenance of the one that was recovered, the diadem, actually comes from a mine in Brazil in 1760.
See there? Me tell you, listeners.
So initially,
they didn't belong to France initially.
Ironically, it was first in the possession of the Empress Catherine the Great of Russia. And then it was handed over to the Napoleon, who then handed it over to Eugenie.
So it moved from Brazil to Russia to France.
Yeah.
My granny, that's a thief and thief. God laugh. No, it's a serious thing, though. You know, you shouldn't really break into museums and steal things. But there's also another conversation to be had.
They were stolen themselves.
About where these colonial powers got those jewels from. Carlene Smith raises a good point on YouTube. She says, "Where is Jaden Smith? How will he weather this storm?" Of course, young Jaden has been missing now for, I think, nearly a month. Very nearly a month.
Yes,
now,
almost. We're running up on that.
And, you know, if he's still alive out there, I hope he is, then of course we're going to have serious weather. And Carlene is, you know, sparing a thought for young Jaden. We continue to hope that he makes it home safely. Carl, good evening.
Evening.
How are you, my friend?
Up further. Doing, man?
Carl?
Your preparations, I see, Carl.
Yeah, man. All right.
Is that Mrs. Carl in the background?
No, man.
You know what? I'm getting in trouble.
No, somebody I walk out with one now on the street.
Okay.
Because I want to ask one question.
Yes, sir.
If somebody invites you somewhere.
Bugsy's a little bit low in my ear. Can you turn him up for me, please? Go again, Carl.
If somebody invites you somewhere.
Yes.
And you go inside, you go sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go eating and picking out your teeth and carry on like those things? That look appropriate?
Poor etiquette.
Before I answer the question, let me ask you one. You're referencing a video of a scene in the Parliament?
Yes, please.
I see. No, it would be in poor taste, and it's poor etiquette.
All right. If you go somewhere and to somebody talk, what me and you are talking, so no, and you're supposed to listen what me say, I'm supposed to listen what you say, and you just continue to talk, or you continue to talk. Does it make any sense?
No, because the conversation wouldn't be productive.
All right. I just going to put out some questions this evening. Are we sitting down and let Golden break all of our protocol into our country? And we just stand by and just leave it like that? Did you see what happened Monday gone?
Monday? What happened? Oh, he was
Monday.
absent from the Heroes Day observance?
It's not the first. I think this one
National
is
Award.
the second.
Sorry.
The National Award. This is supposed to be the second one in doing now.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
If you go and check it, it's supposed to be the second one. The next one I want to ask you, Ricardo, is I will take out the new people them out of the Parliament that went in September 3rd and ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If the leader of the opposition doesn't understand how Parliament governs?
No, Mr. Golding is now, I think we call him a senior parliamentarian. He was a senator before. Yes, he's a senior parliamentarian.
Right.
Yes.
And last week, Tuesday, Mr. Warmington have to teach them about the book, the Parliament. And Tuesday gone again, Mrs. Wallace have to go back and I don't have any problem.
But you know, Carl, I heard Siobhan making a very, very valuable point last evening. And it's that a lot of this, what we're seeing now, is because speakers past have really allowed an untidy state of affairs to persist where the standing orders were not being enforced as they should have been. So now, as Siobhan said, it's perhaps necessary for both sides to meet and say, look, this is what we agreed to. This was passed by the House. And it should be observed.
But if you go back and listen, a clip from Philip Palwell, he said when the new Parliament was about to open, the Speaker of the House tell him that we're going to follow the rules of the book of the Parliament. And he said them agree with it.
Oh, I see. He said that elsewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
So and I heard Philip Powell also said, asking for some leniency. There should be no leniency with the law in the Parliament.
Right. And so that is what I understand the People's National Party to be saying, that in the past there has been the leniency that Siobhan spoke to. And so they expect that to continue. The truth is that both sides should decide whether that's the way they want to proceed, and if they agree on that, they need to amend it. But I wouldn't agree with it as it is written now, and you just ignore it. I don't think that's proper order. I would agree with you, Carl, that as it is written now, it should be enforced. And the previous speakers who allowed the sort of anything goes approach, they were wrong.
They were wrong.
Yes.
And if the corrected way been asked to follow now, you must follow it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable.
The member from St. Mary was asking Matthew.
Christopher Brown is his name, yes.
Mr. Brown was asking Matthew Samuda about payments of road. That is Mr. Morgan. He doesn't seem to, and I will give him the benefit of the doubt that he don't fully understand it. I won't butter him yet.
Carl, I do want to interject here because I will take it from the point where the People's National Party is suggesting that based on the statement provided by the minister, it was far-reaching. It touched on portfolios that, while he did not have direct responsibility for, he pointed out that the ministers who would have had responsibility simply were not present. So they took it upon themselves to ask him the questions based on the fact that it touched on portfolios that he otherwise would not have had responsibility for. And the standing orders are somewhat vague on that matter. It does say you're not supposed to ask questions of the minister when it is not their portfolio responsibility. But how do you handle situations where they themselves are commenting on areas outside of their immediate portfolio?
Yeah, so, well, I hear that, Siobhan, but I think, obviously if you're going to get into specifics about payments, and a colleague minister comes to take a brief on a specific matter, I think it's unreasonable to expect that minister to ask specifics about payment. That would be, I think, unreasonable. Unless the question was directly related to what he said. And my recollection is that he had not touched anything related to payments in the statement. That's my recollection of his statement. So, but I take the point that, they might have taken that as license to try to get those questions in.
Anyhow, last I'll let you go because other people want to talk.
Yes.
Ricardo, I think the government is now wasting in time. The Prime Minister is now wasting in time to invite Golding to Viral. If you listen to Golding yesterday evening,
I was
5 o'clock news.
I was actually taken aback, when Siobhan brought that to my attention. Siobhan, submitted the story and I looked at it. I was really taken aback by his answer to the question. Because it does suggest that matter is dead. That
is dead.
We aren't going anywhere with it.
We're going nowhere.
I've been saying for quite some time now, put it to the Jamaican people.
Put it. 2 years or 3 years from now.
I hear Mr. Golding's argument.
Let me finish deal with Mr. Golding.
I hear Mr. Golding's argument that there is no legal requirement for the matter of the final court to go to a referendum. He's correct.
I heard him.
Yeah, and he's correct on that score. But I don't know that because there's no legal requirement, then that means the people should not be consulted. That doesn't stand to me, and especially in a situation where the two political parties cannot agree, then the only way we move forward is for the people. Yeah, it's for the people to decide.
Put it to a referendum, and let us deal with it 2.5 years from now. And show Mr. Golding that we are chose Jamaica.
I don't know why specifically 2.5 years, but okay, I will ask you why 2.5 years. But yeah, I think it has to go to the people now. Because the state of affairs is untenable. We can't continue this way.
My concern is because of the non-binding nature of that referendum and the requirement at the end of the day for a 2/3 majority in the Senate, it feels as if we're heading to a dead end at the end of the day.
But you see my point, my response to that, Siobhan, and it's probably a reasonable fear you have, because if it's non-binding, then the opposition could ignore it, assuming that it goes in favor of the government. Obviously, if the opposition prevails on the question, then the government would have to back down. But if the government should prevail, and my sense is that the Jamaican people would reject the CCJ. That's my own sense, even though I support.
We'll reject it.
Yeah, even though I support the court, my sense is that they'd reject it.
We'll reject it.
But if the Jamaican people were to say no to the CCJ, it would be difficult for me to see a situation where the People's National Party would continue to insist. That would be the essence of undemocratic behavior, and I don't know what justification could be used to defend that. I couldn't understand. You couldn't continue. It just wouldn't make any sense. Because if the people who are your masters say to you, we do not want that court, no matter the wisdom you think, and I do think, and I have to say it, I do think there's wisdom in accepting the CCJ, but if the Jamaican people say no, I would be bound to accept that decision.
But do you believe that the reason and the specific reason they don't want a referendum is as a result of that fear?
Yes. I think Mr. Golding knows it would probably fail. Because let's be honest, it has not succeeded in any other Caribbean country by way of referendum.
And as he pointed out,
not a single country in this region has accepted the CCJ by way of the popular.
Ricardo, before you go, you can go play back his clip. Mr. Golding also said yesterday evening that no other country who moved from England to join the court have used a referendum. That's not true.
Which one has?
I think one used it other day. When a Caribbean country used it other day, go referendum.
On the court?
Yes, no, ask the people to choose.
No, I think in terms of successfully adopting the CCJ,
I think that's what he
through
means.
a referendum.
Yeah. Right. So what he said yesterday wasn't true.
All right, Carl.
And the last one, I'm here on lecture. What the Prime Minister needs to do, go and start to get the next parish in a St. Catherine and stop about moving from Mr. Golding country to come to the Caribbean.
No, I don't think we should abandon the referendum push.
The referendum is okay for me. The referendum is okay for me.
Well, it seems now we can't do one without the other. We can't do one without the other.
Golding to come to something there, to Viral, that is a dead. Take it to the people 2.5 years from now, and let us deal with it.
Why 2.5 years from now? Why not next year? Why 2.5 years?
Next year.
2.5 years is the local government. No, local government maybe next year.
Next 2, you see, we have to try to get the economy start kick up more. And when you're going into politics, you have to know how
you that's an interesting point, Carl, because that is why people fear referenda, because usually the people don't just vote on the question that you put before them, they vote on everything that them vex about. So you could see a situation. He's right though, Siobhan, because you could see a situation where you put it on people, and because the people are upset about whatever, they say, okay, this is the government's vote, we just go vote. against the government, and it ends up that you have an outcome that you didn't see coming. But let's see, Carl. Thanks for the call.
Yes, man.
And that's another matter that I don't necessarily agree with Mr. Golding about.
Yeah.
His attempts to somehow divorce politics from the matters of justice. Justice is inherently a political matter in some cases. You can't neatly divorce the two.
And you know, Siobhan, that's a part of the problem I've had in this country, man. This idea that our betters know better, for lack of a better term, than us, and that they should always make the decision, it troubles me. It troubles me. I don't know if a court or any political system or institution really that is to serve the people can have legitimacy in a divided context without the people giving their final approval. I don't see how that happens.
And this matter, they keep bringing up that when we paid for the court already. Did you go to the Jamaican people
to ask them they want to spend their money on it?
To pay for that institution?
And that is part of the problem, eh? What's the number again? Cleveland.
Yes, Mr. Ricardo.
Hey.
And Siobhan, how are you doing?
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Not bad. To the both of you.
Yes, sir.
You don't see the pimpy gone to the dogs, no?
I wouldn't put it that way.
Eh?
I wouldn't put it that way.
You wouldn't put it that way.
No.
But yet they are putting it that the Speaker of the House go from dishwasher, dishwasher to plate to table towel.
Who said that?
I understand it was something said by a caller to the program.
People calling, and the person who running the program never say, "Oh no."
Wait, a program here? A program here?
No, man. No, man. You know, get that on your station, man.
Oh.
But I noticed that some of the people who I thought was sensible people is agreeing with the disagreeing with the speaker.
I get a serious sense. I think Ricardo touched upon something when he asked a question of Nikisha Burchell.
Yeah.
Was it last week or earlier this week?
Earlier this week.
Is there some kind of animosity or distrust directed specifically to Mrs. Holness? And I do get the sense that there is some specific bone of contention against Mrs. Holness.
They don't like her. They don't like her because of who she's married to.
Yes.
Which is a high form of
sexism. She don't come from nowhere important.
High form of
sexism. She
sexism.
shouldn't have such a position over them, over the Tapaнаris people them. I'm making a white man come into this all sort of things against this lady. No, sir. No. I say, Mrs. Asamba, whatever. Is disagreeing with the speaker? I thought that lady had better sense than that. I remember in her days, she stand up and said that she make sure to bring in our people, bring in their people to run things. You know? It's really bad, sir. Really bad. And Mr. Brown, no, I don't think Mr. Brown, nobody seems to correct him that what he was doing in the House Tuesday was wrong. Wrong. You can't come and ask him question about things that that is not the topic based on how the House run. You see? Him is a real dunce.
No, Cleveland.
It's not the case. He came with a question that was out of order, and I believe if it was any other speaker other than Mrs. Holness, the question would have been allowed, even though it was out of order. And I think that in itself lies the problem. We've carried on a certain way in the hallowed halls of our parliament that don't necessarily match the hollowness of those halls.
And
Mrs. Holness is attempting to bring some order to that chaos, and it's being rejected outright because it does impose a certain requirement on how the conduct of the House is carried out. I think that's really the simplicity of the matter. But credit to Mrs. Holness and Mrs. Dalrymple Filbert before her. I don't know if anybody remembers the times when Parliament would start almost an hour after the proceedings were expected to get underway.
I remember. Yes.
And if you notice, and I think we've been slipping a little, but if you've noticed more recently over the last few years, we've started very close to 2 o'clock. And that is as a result of Mrs. Marissa Dalrymple Filbert and Mrs. Holness pointing out that there needs to be an understanding as to how the business of the people should be conducted.
Yes. You can't become harsh in these questions. The minister not in the house, and if he was even in the house, he would have to bring himself up to date with what is happening. So he must not really have to talk to technical people. You see, get some information from them of the question they're asking. Time would just know it. Just like that.
I'm really distressed though to hear you say that somebody referred to her as
the one was school.
From dish rag to tablecloth.
Yes.
And that was allowed?
Yes, and I was told the man who running the program. I was told on a program, and I was quite aghast when I heard it.
The gentleman who running the program never said, "Oh no."
No, that is disgraceful.
Don't you say that?
That's disgraceful.
You see, and one of the person who calls sound like a big woman, big motherly lady.
Anyhow,
one more thing before I go.
Yes, Cleveland.
I hear Mr. Campbell. Dayton Campbell. They're having some argument about the CMAX thing.
Yes, he wants the Jamaica Labour Party to clarify what the payment was for.
Can you imagine? This is reminding me of Trafalgar.
But CMEX has clarified.
Yes, but
donations.
It seems like him don't accept that.
They made donations.
There's something more for him to answer about.
As do a lot of private sector organizations in the country do. They make donations to both sides, and they're required by the law to actually disclose that to the ECJ, and in some territories they might need to disclose it to another body, as the case for CMEX.
Right. So you think on as if they never get none.
No, I believe in his statement he did say. No. In his statement he did say that they also receive money from Carib Cement.
He just didn't say the audio.
When it come out in the Gleaner, I didn't see Gleaner, but let me tell you something. I walk with some men in the mornings, and one Robert PMP guy in there, and he come with it because I never even know nothing about it. And that's the argument him have for whole time we walk in, as if the government did something wrong.
No, it was a political donation.
And how much million them get?
Aye.
It's no I'm understanding that if them even get million, it's not them alone.
$200,000 and
the two sides did get.
Yes, CMEX says they make contributions to both parties.
You see? But I don't know, Mrs. Holness going to have to take, especially these new members, to school. And I'm surprised that Mr. Philip Paul will too. I am today on with Emily and trying to make a whole heap of excuse. You see? But I would expect him to teach the younger men and women that come in the house how they are to perform and what they must understand when you say statement different from asking a question.
Yeah. Here you, Cleveland. Thanks for the call.
All right. Yeah, man.
Number again, 618-6730.
618-6730.
876-618-6730. That's the number to call. Come chat with us. What's on your mind? How are you preparing for the storm? What do you make of this parliamentary brouhaha about questions and the enforcement of the standing orders? J.A. Queen says, strong women like Mrs. Holness are disliked. Enough men love weak women. Mrs. Holness, we the strong women of Jamaica are standing beside and behind you. She says, we love you, Mrs. Holness. Also, she said, with PM. Mrs. Holness, please seek God's guidance and hold your ground. With God, all things are possible. God will confuse the enemy. That's somebody in the chat going by the name God is in control. What else are they saying? Somebody's agreeing with Cleveland. Dreview says Antigua and Barbuda voted on whether to adopt the Caribbean Court of Justice as its highest appellate court, and the proposal was rejected by voters, leaving the Privy Council in place as the final court. Alric, good evening.
Evening, Shaban, Ricardo. How are you?
Evening. All right.
Ricardo and Shaban, Cleveland's last statement was the one that I think where I was planning to go. I'm surprised at Mr. Palmer.
Why?
You guys hear me?
Hear you. Why are you surprised?
Because Mr. Palmer has been around quite a while and he knows right from wrong when it comes to what happens in the parliament with the speaker.
Hello,
guys?
Yeah, man, we're here. Alric, go on top, man, we're here.
Yeah, so apart from Mr. Warmington, who is a guru with what happens inside there, I think Mr. Paul will have more experience in terms of, and he has the right position as leader of opposition business in the house to school these new parliamentarians when they come in. But to me, you know, I might be wrong, and I'm going to say it again. I think these people think that because they have their big education, Mrs. Holness is from the wrong side of the street, she and her husband. They don't born with gold spoon, they don't born with the money, they're not capanari, so they just feel that she's not qualified to be the Speaker of the House. And it hurts me to know that they're behaving like that with her, and she's not wrong. It's not that she's abusing her power. She's not wrong, and I think the leader of the opposition and Mr. Palmer to take these new MPs and sit them down, man, and teach them that they can't disrespect the people of Jamaica like that by going into the parliament and disrespecting the Speaker of the House and want to act in their own way.
Hear you, Alric. Alric? All right. 876-618-6730. That's the number to call. Dwayne says, good night, Nationwide News Team. How long before the station be back on the air? Not getting you guys on the app. Dwayne, when last you checked the app should be up now. I did bring it to the attention of the IT team, and I checked it myself, and it was back. So check again, Dwayne. The app should be up and running now. Tamu Good says it's not an issue with Mrs. Holness being a strong woman. That goes without saying. She's downright amazing. It is still a conflict of interest in give the appearance of mistrust, given that her husband is the Prime Minister. I don't agree that there's a conflict of interest. I don't see what interest Mrs. Holness has in her husband being Prime Minister for a conflict to exist. So I don't agree that it's a conflict of interest. And I don't need to remind you that the People's National Party in the first instance supported her elevation to Speaker. If there was a conflict of interest, the People's National Party should have objected in the first place. Yeah? The first objection we heard was in the budget presentation, by the opposition leader. And at that time, it just came across as being politically expedient.
And I would like to remind, this is not a case of nepotism. The Speaker of the House is a duly elected third-term member of Parliament, elected by her constituents, and then further elevated by her fellow government members. It's not the Prime Minister said, here's the Speaker, sit in your seat.
Donovan says, happy the app is up and running. Love to listen to gospel in the early mornings. All right, Donovan. Del?
Hello.
Hi, Del.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you? Long time to hear from you. What going?
Not bad at all. Sometimes I try, but me not getting through.
Oh, you not get through. But you know, Del, like a storm, no, me know, so you go cook up a storm because you always have the good food, them, you know. But what are going?
Yeah, right, so far, man. And you?
Me alright, me not good, me not too bad. Me not too bad at all.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
I just have a little point. I don't like Mr. Gold in action at all.
Oh.
I don't like Mr. Gold in action, and I don't like him himself.
Oh dear.
Mr. Golding is too out of order. He have the attitude. When they're having the house meeting, he just get up, walk out. If something don't suit him,
yes.
He just walk out because he's white and he can't deal with black.
Is that why though? Is that why though, Del?
White man.
Me not think I race. Me not think I race.
Yes, at that. That's why white people stay.
No, Del. Me not think of that.
What do you think then, Ricardo?
I mean, I think he has an issue with Mrs. Holness, but I don't know that's a race issue.
He have with everybody. He just don't like her. He don't like the Prime Minister neither.
I think it actually comes down to the simple point of his relationship with her relationship with the Prime Minister that the People's National Party is not fond of.
Ricardo, I said, man, Mr. Mark Golding have no manners, no respect. He just feel to say him should have been the leader. And so now him going make nightmare for everybody. As the past Prime Minister did say. And that him do just erupt everything like volcano. Because what him say must go. And if you can't go with him, then him going to make problems. That's why they don't choose him in this election. And if he go and stay way, the fourth election might come and he don't win neither.
You think so?
Hello?
You think so?
Yes, man, because he out of order and he must go and too much something, and I feel say Mr. Robinson should go against him.
Who?
Mr. Robinson should try and oppose him because I feel more confident and better with Julian. Julian would handle the situation better.
Oh, you think Julian Robinson should challenge him?
Yes, he should challenge him.
Oh.
Julian should challenge him.
Okay.
I don't have any confidence in Powell much, but Julian should challenge him and put him one side. Take over and put him aside.
Interesting.
That man is too out of order and don't have manners. The lady not troubling him, and she just doing her work, and it upset him, and whatever she said, they must go down Panara, want to fight her, even though my Prime Minister. I don't have no respect.
Isn't that the point though, Del? Isn't that the point though, Del? Isn't the attempt right now by the opposition is to ensure that they utilize what power they have gained from the elections just recently concluded, ensure they stay relevant, and ensure that they can exercise as much power and control over the affairs of the country, albeit from opposition? Isn't that just a political move? And I would imagine that either political party in that situation would do the same.
I don't quite hear what you're saying, Shaban.
No, I'm saying, as a political party, when you're in opposition, aren't you going to try to exert as much control and force as you can over the government from that position, albeit not the government, but you are still attempting to stay relevant and exert as much political control in order to stay in some semblance of control over the affairs of the country? I think any political party would attempt to do that. How you do that is important, though, where you don't come off as being either undermining the democratic process or undermining the people of the country. I think that is the important part, and I think that is where the People's National Party is failing somewhat at the optics. But I would imagine any political party in that situation will try to exert as much control over the government as they can.
You must try to do it and do it right in the right way, but not try to bully somebody like you want somebody to be afraid of you. You don't want to bully somebody like you want somebody to be afraid of you. Anything you say that must go. Come and reason together. But him can't reason together and don't want to reason. Because
they don't trust each other. The simple fact of the matter is, I don't know what has happened over the years, and you should have seen. You should see what.
What do you mean you don't know what has happened over the years?
In terms of the breakdown of trust between the two political parties, it has reached a fever pitch. They don't trust each other. It is literally a knife fight to see who will control the government at the end of the day from election to election. There is no sense of the common good of the country beyond I want to win the next election. And that is the breakdown that is happening. Nobody wants to go behind the speaker's desk and try to work anything out. Nobody wants to try and
I think the genesis of that can be found in how Andrew Michael Holness has been treated as Prime Minister. It's certainly in my lifetime, I have not seen anybody attacked. I mean, perhaps Edward Seaga was attacked in the same way, but I didn't have political consciousness then. But certainly since I've been alert to politics, if you put aside, well, Portia Simpson Miller was also personally attacked, but that the personal attack started from within her own party. Right. So but you put that aside, Andrew Holness has faced a lot. And I think maybe that's where it started. And the labor rights, as you know, they've taken umbrage to it.
Right. And I can see that, because I've spoken to people within the People's National Party high up, and the unkind things that they say about the Prime Minister, sometimes outright calling him a criminal. I'm shocked
and it's not
by
new,
the phrasing of it.
It's not new, you know. It's not new. I think the People's National Party has always had a strategy of seeking to demean and tear down the leader of the JLP. And it goes back as far as Bustamante. I mean, I grew up hearing that things like Bustamante couldn't read and write and all those things. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but those are the things I grew up hearing. And then, of course, the slander against Edward Seaga, all the slanders about how evil he was and that kind of a thing. Bruce Golding faced a lot of it. The difference with Andrew Holness, I think, which is why I think it keeps escalating, is that so far it has not succeeded. And so I think because it hasn't succeeded so far, it keeps notching up. Right? So if you remember in 2016, it was about the house.
Yes.
You remember the house?
Yes.
It was about the house. And then that didn't work. The people voted his government in. And then in 2020, there was more whispers about, I don't remember what that was about, but in 2020 there were whispers.
I think it was his filings.
Right. And then it continued and until we're at the point, as you say, where there are people who are openly suggesting that he's some kind of criminal, and then there are people talking about you go online and you see all kind of conspiracies about how he's going to be arrested internationally. And all kinds of lies. Those are lies.
Ricardo, my issue is it's not the overt politicking. And sometimes people say the most disturbing things in open public. I'm talking people within their confidence almost certainly believe to the point that I
they convince themselves
exactly.
Yeah.
So they fight Peter Phillips and get him out, and then fight Portia and get him out. So they want to drop them wood and throw all sorts of remarks so that Andrew will give up and step aside and make them take over. They can't run country. Not even their yard, they can't run. They can't run their yard.
Now right there, nobody going in nobody's yard.
They can't run round it. They just run round it, but you know, like their actions, and it upset me to how them are going. And when they're wrong, they don't want to say they're wrong. They don't want to accept defeat. They don't want, when anything happens, they just jump down for the Prime Minister and his family. And when anything happens over the other side, they just stand still. I know it's my lady there, rushing him, they just lie and they just stand still. Nah, say nothing.
How that? Which lie lady?
Rushing him again, him. Donna Scott Matthews.
Oh, Donna Scott Matthews.
She does nothing, but anything happen over there side, you ready to speak. And Angela Brown Burke, they must shut up and go one side and make the government do what they have to do.
All right, Del. News commentator is asking about any updates on Jaden. No, we have not had any updates on Jaden. When I get off here, I'll check to see if there was, but the police certainly haven't said anything new, and we haven't heard anything from his principals since.
I see someone in the YouTube chat suggesting that this is as a result of the Integrity Commission, and my question is, based on what I've heard coming from the People's National Party, is almost as if they were given information. I'm not going to try to cast aspersions, but almost as if they received some level of information from a certain body that had them convinced to their core that the Prime Minister is guilty of something. And to that extent, they have been expressing it in the public with fervent belief.
618-6730, Gary?
Yes, Ricardo and Siobhan. I just want to ask two little questions. Tell me something. Is Mark Golding a KC, King's Counsel?
No.
Is Delroy Chuck a KC, King's Counsel?
Is he?
I'd have to double check that.
Let me double check that. I know he's a Rhodes Scholar.
All right, don't worry getting at that. Since you don't know, I could leave it until you find out.
No, you'll check, yeah, man.
So tell me something. There's Andrew Holness. I want to ask you if he's a KC. I'm asking you, is he a liar?
No.
So therefore, one will think that being a liar, as Mark Golding, and
yes, Elroy Chuck is a King's Counsel.
Okay, so therefore then we'll go back and say, well then, if he considered Delroy Chuck beneath him and he want to meet with the Prime Minister, is a King's Counsel a grade, a notch over one that isn't?
Wait, ask that again.
Is the KC, King's Counsel, a notch, a grade over an ordinary liar?
Well, yeah, well, yeah, I suppose in rank. Yes. Yes, in rank.
You look around and I try.
No. The way you phrase it, that, yeah. Yes.
Is a notch up?
Yes, in rank. Yes.
How much up? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, Andrew Holness, so therefore, not meeting with Delroy Chuck and saying is not above his grade, but the Prime Minister is not a liar. Me know that. So therefore, I would think, as Andrew Holness and me as leader, I would want him and Delroy Chuck to work it out. Both lawyers can be meeting eye to eye, iron it out. Delroy Chuck, after that, will come back to the Prime Minister and say to him, say, listen, Mr. Golding and I speak about this. He's saying this, but I advising you, Mr. Holness, this is the way I think should go and that should be done. We want to meet with the Prime Minister for knock him up, tie him up, and then come back, come say, the Prime Minister is not a liar and him don't understand this and him don't do that. What the hell is going on in the society? What happened to the people, them, the NGOs, and the people, them, who the intellectual, them, and the spin doctors? What is happening to them? What, them take out them brain and put it down? Them not see them a bring down Lady Jamaica. Lady Jamaica go down to the dogs and not just Mr. Holness. When you go foreign and come back and for what have you were talking about the office of the Prime Minister. What is this? What is this thing about? If Delroy Chuck is higher than him, I see an argument to deal with one and a program one sometime gone, and with the following, praise be to God that we have a DPP like she and me give her all kind of kudos. And she said, look here, you know who you're speaking to when certain question was put to her? And the person have to dress down back. So I am saying, if Delroy Chuck is a King's Counsel, so to see what you say, and him is an ordinary liar, but both of them in the field and know about the things, then Andrew Wallet is not a liar. Answer that for me, because I have to turn off my radio and I have to do it whenever I hear the finish it. I'm going to have to go play back.
No,
what you say?
Andrew Holness is not a lawyer, but I don't want you to diminish Mr. Golding as an attorney. He's a very successful
not diminish an attorney, but when they want to diminish and not.
No, I'm just saying he's a senior attorney. Okay, yes.
Liar. Am I right?
Yes.
So therefore the argument done. So don't tell me about no diminishing. Diminishing him is a higher above that. Ordinary liar, sir. You can't rank him with him, a QC that. If the KC did belong to the leader of the opposition, then I could say if him say no want to meet with him, then he want to meet with somebody in a film qualification and for what I would understand. Why the people them not talking about this and going around? What on the field to say, look here, I know you're supposed to want to bring down the leader, which they have done all the time and to do that. But in this disrespecting the leader, you're bringing down the office of the Prime Minister. So why are you doing this? I mean, you want to come to power and think, but look here, a lies you have to come to power with, a disrespect you have to come to power with and carry down Jamaica. Where you expect to go? Me a one time PNP, you know, and when them did that carry on Portia about so she can't decide that, oh, me know nothing with them. So them a come back again with the same playbook of foolishness. Thank you, Siobhan and Ricardo.
All right, brother.
I see everybody is supporting the call for Julian Robinson to be the next leader of the opposition. But the People's National Party does not have a history of replacing their leaders, even after a contest So I think even
they haven't never replaced one.
So I think even if
neither has the JLP either. Has anybody ever been
I
voted
don't
out
believe
of
so
the
either.
JLP? No.
So I mean, even if it came to a vote within the party's delegates, I don't believe Mr. Golding would have lost enough footing within that group to be replaced by anybody, unless he himself decides that he wishes to step down.
That's a matter for PNP delegates. I leave that alone. That's all the time we have. Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey. Andrew Glenn Anderson. Bugs, how much bread do you have? Yeah. 2 bread? One of each offer. White or brown? Bigger one and white one. Then. I can't find a bread, bro. Can't find a bread. Andrew Glenn Anderson is the man behind the controls. He was a pilot tonight. All our callers, contributors, and you are valued listeners. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. YouTubers, big up on yourself. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
I'm Shafat Campbell. Stay safe.
Good evening.